and with G2 Esports going up against Gen.G Mobile 1 Racing. That'll be their first match of the day. But lots of exciting action coming down the pipe for you guys. 4 of the best 4 teams going to Rotterdam, just playing for placement and seeding here in the Fall Invitational. Now, this stuff is for the action yesterday it felt like results-wise, if you're looking at that, you're going like, oh, am I going to go back and watch these in the VOD? Like, it feels like maybe after you watch game 1, you kind of know how the rest of the series is going to go. It was still jam-packed with incredible moments of Rocket League gaming action here, Turtle. The top plays today are something special.
Oh, there was so much to talk about yesterday, and I'm honored to be able to bring everybody the top plays of yesterday. Coming in at number 3, we got Calm, who is pretty much the only person who is doing some damage on the other side. He gets a solo flip reset air dribble, and I'm telling you, this is the only way version 1 we're able to take down Gen.G with a solo 1v3. Lovely little control there in the air, gets the flip reset, and then has that power to finish it off. But then coming in at number 2, this might be one of the craziest plays, and it's not even number 1. Number 2, this flip reset from Daniel is absolutely absurd. It makes no sense. Everybody pay attention, okay? It's a flip reset, but he gets that reset and then jumps down below the ball, doesn't use the extra flip yet, holds onto it, and then finally, when the moment is right, strikes off the crossbar. We were spending like 4 hours rewatching this play, and it still makes no sense. It still makes no sense. Going below the ball. Jumps off the ball below it, and that's not even number 1. This shot from Toasty. I don't think we will ever see an angle like this again in RLCS. He gets around the defender, and if you were watching the series yesterday, even Toasty himself could not believe his eyes at what he had just scored.
No one's ever hit a redirect on that area of the car with that amount of speed ever in their life.
No.
And I don't know if they'll ever do it again.
In the stadium.
Yeah.
That has to be our best top 2 maybe ever.
Yeah.
Both those plays were 10 out of 10s for sure.
The flip reset is what boggles my mind, because at first you thought it was a double flip reset from Daniel, but he used the flip reset to jump below the ball after getting it. I can't even fathom.
Turtle, exactly that's the reason why I know you guys have like algorithms and calculations you have to determine these top 3 plays, but I'm gonna be honest with you, that Daniel shot's number 1 for me, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's hard, right? Because like the Daniel play is genuinely like transcendent control on the car. Instead of like we looked at it, because it looks like he comes off the car and then flip resets into the ball and then cancels it and then falls down and then flip resets again. How do you get a second flip reset? No, it's literally he's jumping off the ball, which means he maintains his flip.
Yeah,
so he has another
and
one
to be fair, I didn't know about that when I made this order as well. We found out about that today when we're in rehearsals. We're watching that play over and over again. But then Toasty's redirect, there was a defender there as well. So if he just hit a nutty redirect anyway, that's going to be blocked. He had to hit that perfect. It was top corner, high speed. That's a once-in-a-lifetime shot as well. So like, it's like pick either one. Who cares? Both of them were amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. Wonderful, wonderful day of Rocket League action. Daniel put up quite a few shots. Not quite as incredible as that one, but you know, your beggars can't be choosers here. There's so many incredible moments yesterday. Go back and watch all the Daniel goals. Okay, let's talk about the teams here that are not here. Okay, as much of a mind bender as that sentence is. We've had so many teams trying to get into these 5 spots for the North American placements in Rotterdam. Okay, and there are so many teams. There's only 5. 4 teams missing out. The list of teams: Optic Gaming, Complexity, Furia, and NRG not going to be going. Every one of those teams was in the conversation for best in North America at some point during the off season here. What is in store for these teams here, Gibbs? Okay, well, let's talk about NRG first. This is one of the most storied teams in Rocket League, period. 3 of the biggest names in Rocket League, period, not going to the Fall Major.
And that's the crazy thing for NRG. It's hard for NRG, right? Because when you've been at the top and then you fall short, it's a lot harder than if like you've always fallen short just barely and like you're just trying to improve. But you know you're on a downhill trend at this point. And it's been 2 majors in a row. Obviously, World's top 8. They had a pretty nice bracket, so they got into that. But at the end of the day, NRG is not the old NRG that was always number 1 or number 2 in NA for the past 5 years. So at this point, what do? It's 3 really good friends playing Rocket League, but it's a downhill trend. who's the first to finally say, hey guys, I need a change? And that, I think, is what could happen throughout this offseason or this split window here. But I just don't know, because like we've seen it on Twitter with Justin. He goes dark. He's thinking about retiring. Who knows if that's true or not? But that happens right after you lose and you're not going to Rotterdam. Now he's going to sit and think about it for a little while. But it's tough for NRG because you've been there before. You've been the best. And now you're falling apart. I don't know what you do.
I mean, look, we've talked about the same downtrend with NRG that eventually they just have to be in the pit, right? And I think there are other teams that are on the come up that didn't make the major. Obviously, you guys know that I'm a bit of a Furia fan.
Really?
I didn't know. I wasn't aware.
They didn't really do the thing. You know, top 4 at Worlds. They moved to North America. And you know, they got smacked in the mouth. All right, that first regional comes and they still got a top 8. But I think the expectations were extremely high for this team because of how they played on land against the best teams in the world. They took down a Moist team that rarely ever lost in Game 7s and then beat them at Worlds. So the expectations were understandable. But then they had to make some adjustments. It's a new region. You know, the 16th best team in North America is going to be a much stiffer competition than the 7th or 8th best team in South America. It's a completely different region. And for Furia, I think that their demise has been vastly overstated. They're going to come back in winter and absolutely smack people in the mouth. They adjusted really well over the course of 3 regionals. And Gibbs, I see your face over there, okay? I'm going to stop you. I'm going to tell you why, okay? This is just what I want to say, okay?
Go ahead.
And then I'm done. I'll drop it, and there's nothing else, all right? I'm just going to list off the teams that Furia have played against, and I'm going to list their record. And so everybody can shut up about Furia and how, they shouldn't have moved to North America because there are 9 major teams in this region. All right, they split against Complexity, 1-1. G2 split, 1-1. Gen.G, 0-1. NRG, 2-0. Optic, 0-1. Shopify Rebellion, 1-0. Space Station, 1-2. Axel, 1-0. Version 1, 1-1. Every single team that was on the bubble in that 10 to 16 range in North America, Furia beat all of them and split against all of the other top teams in North America. This team went 8-7 in matches played, and most of them were against the teams that are going to the major. They will be back. They are a great team, and I don't want people sleeping on them because they're gonna catch you. I'm telling you.
So I don't question that they are a great team, but when you're splitting against the top 9 and only 5 go, you're saying you're about 5th best at that point.
That's
and
fine.
You need to show up, though. But
people are saying,
if you get one bad
people
loss,
say they never should have moved. But that's silly. Why shouldn't they have moved?
Because you were number 1.
One split.
They're not, dude. There's no guarantee you're going to be number 1 in your own region that only has 2 major spots. When you have the club and crew, Shad moves back. Have you watched Clue in the club down there? It's not a gimme region. Furia didn't even win all of their games in the South American region. So they move with better competition. It's going to make you a better player. It's going to make you a better team. To me, it's ridiculous that they have one split where they barely
go to these international
just
lands.
outside of the major, and now everyone's like, they're done. They should have never moved. Like, you're really gonna make a decision after? You're really gonna make that opinion after one split performance where they just missed out? Why don't you get a fuller body of performance and then you can make the decision?
Full year. That is perfectly reasonable. But at this point, they got to make 2/3 of these majors now. They got to make these other 2 to have a chance probably at Worlds because it's so competitive. And they very likely could. But Fall Split absolutely was a failure. They needed to make this international land.
You said that they're going to make the adjustment in between fall and winter. I'm guessing that with NRG we're all on the same page of like, when are they going to make the roster change? Come on, like something's going to change, right?
Sure.
I assume that's not the case here with Furia. What is the adjustment? What is actually in your mind is changing between fall and winter?
The biggest thing I think is they've settled down. Because I wanted to see them make adjustments in fall. The biggest things were more thoughtful touches and more physicality. Because they weren't physical at all in the first regional. They ranked dead last. And then they ranked in the, I think, top 8 in demos per game. And they were also much more thoughtful with their touches in the second regional. They only lost to a peaking version 1 in quarterfinals that ended up winning the whole regional later on anyway. And then in regional 3, you know, there aren't many excuses that you can give to Furia. They had to clutch up against Complexity. They played a back 3 games, but I do think that they're one of the stronger mental teams in Rocket League. They made the adjustments I wanted them to see. That tells me that they're capable of making them quickly. So that's why I think they're going to be a big threat for every team come winter.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on Furia. We'll also keep an eye on Jorby. Chat is keeping an eye on Turtle. You are.
Bro, I'm
all they're talking about.
I'm trying to soak this in right now. It's really difficult for me because I just don't understand how you can say that, Furia, they don't need to make any adjustments. NRG, I feel like they're kind of in the same spot right now. Okay.
I said they did. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
in terms of roster movements. But I have one question, Wayfun.
Yes.
What happened to complexity? The RLCS 2021-22 fall split major, they attended. They lost to BDS. Everybody was like, complexity, this is it. They're that team representing their region. This is them making the move over. Everything's going to go great. And what has happened since then? Absolutely nothing. And I have no idea what is going on, what the changes need to be made with their team. If there's one team that has a record of not performing up to the expectations, but it's not even NRG or Furia at this point. I feel like it's just been complexity for me.
We had such high expectations about this team coming in, and now they've established themselves as a top 8, consistent-ish, but like not higher than that. And is this enough for them? Are they happy with that standards? Surely not.
Like, I feel like they can't be, because you move to North America to make it to these international events, to compete against the best, to get better. But again, like, you can't get better if you only play against North America now and don't go to these international events as well, because that's a lot of experience that you're missing out on as well. So I don't know what you do for complexity, because it does really feel like they just are not good enough. They feel like the 8th best team right now in NA, and I don't know how you fix that. Like,
they did have some mental barriers to overcome. Like CRR had the stuff with his family where he had to be in the hospital a day before game day. They didn't play well in that regional, and I think a lot of that is definitely affecting Complexity's ability, because you still see it in flashes in the games that they play. I mean, even against G2, we were seeing it, right? They couldn't completely put it together. So I think this roster can work. It's obviously there's some growing pains and there's some unfortunate circumstances around it. So we'll see in winter.
Yeah, well, I mean, then we have we're running out of time here, but Optic Gaming, want to talk about that. This was a team that, man, I think so many of us were so hot on Turtle coming into this event. Magic Bear and Reddles teaming up. You've got the revenge story too with Reddles too. Like, surely the energy's behind this team, and not quite panning out. You
and I, Waypunk, have been fans of Magic Bear since the beginning too. Whenever he got his early rise on Torrent, we've watched him grow as a player. We knew he was something special. It was unfortunate because I do believe in this last regional in the fall invitational, all 3 of them got sick. Obviously that's going to affect their performance here, but still, you would like to see them putting up more points earlier on, maybe give them more of some leg room. But still, this team is one that I don't think anybody's respect has dwindled just because they didn't make the major. This is one of those teams that come next split, they are going to be one you have to fear and have to respect.
Like, it's tough because I feel like Magic Bear has a lot of pressure on them, right? Because I think that they don't make a roster move yet. I think they go one more split. But if they don't perform there, when you have the name power of Reddles and AJ, the move is going to be Magic Bear, right? You would assume that he would be the one off the team to pick up someone else. Like, that's what I assume at least.
Okay. But I mean, Gibbs, not every roster move is made purely on the basis of like on the field, like how you feel on the field, right? I mean, I feel like most of the roster decisions we see are political decisions that we can't really see behind the scenes.
But this is now 2 teams that Magic Bear's been on that he's supposed to be the guy, or at least be a lot better than what he's shown on the field so far. Like, even on Torrent, he wasn't the guy that we expected, like back in RLCS, like X. Like, I thought he was going to really start popping off, and he never really reached those moments yet. Now, he still can in winter, but we'll have to see.
Well, we'll continue to keep an eye on them, chat. Let us know how you feel about these 4 teams over on Twitter. Use the hashtag RLCS chat. Let's move on to who we think is actually going to win in Rotterdam from North America, and more specifically, who Gibbs thinks.
Let's go.
Gibbs is going to be guessing.
Let's go, Gibbs.
I'm gonna get out the whiteboard. I'm gonna write down the list here. We're going to start with, of the 5 teams, which team is the 5th most likely to win here, Gibbs?
Now, this is to win Rotterdam, all right? I don't care where you place. I don't care if you make a grand finals. If you don't win, here is the likelihood that you win. So I'm going to start with number 5, and my magic number is 19. 19 months ago was the last time that this team has won literally anything. So I'm putting Space Station Gaming. I know they're looking good in NA. I'm putting them at number 5 until they win something. They literally have not won anything. I cannot pick them to win a Rotterdam major. Now, personally, because it's a European major, I think the European team will probably win. So it won't matter with this top 5, but still, Space Station.
So you're talking about
19 months.
You're talking about the previous Space Station when they had Reddles. And
It
not
doesn't matter.
What do you mean it
19
doesn't
with
matter?
Daniel, with
How does that not
Space
matter?
Station last season didn't win anything.
Bro,
They won
Daniel
0
was
tournaments.
just fresh out of diapers at that LAN, at the tournaments, bro. Give the man some
But
time.
you could say he has ice, but they don't have ice to actually
Okay.
win anything yet.
All right.
So I want to see it. Maybe it happens here. Who knows?
Okay. We got to keep moving here. Give me
All
number
right.
4.
Number 4, I am going to go V1. V1, obviously regional 2 winners, but their record in NA right now is the worst of these 5 teams. They're 12
You got
and
version
8.
1 above Space Station?
Barely. To be fair, I don't like either of these teams to win anything. Beast mode, like if he pops off, sure. I don't like him in front of a crowd, but sure. Maybe Beast mode just puts off a performance. He's one of the best in the world. He could do it, but I doubt it. So that's why these are my bottom 2. Next up, Gen.G at number 3. It's 2/3
Gen.G?
European. It's 2/3 European, so I gotta
Okay.
favor them
No
a bit.
way.
No. Can we,
Wait, you would have them higher?
is there a way to rewind production? Can we go back to the start of the pre-show?
yeah,
Need to rethink this.
You just said the European team's going to win, and this is
Yeah.
the one European team you could possibly put on this list. You put him
Have
at number
you?
3.
Have you seen apparently Jack last season at Lambs? No, you didn't, because he wasn't on the field because he didn't look good.
Wow.
Nerves
know why
came
you're
out
not
a
wearing a
lot
cap
for
right now,
apparently
Gibbs.
Jack.
This-
He
this-
needs to prove that he can play on land first. And Chronic coming in, a new young guy, like maybe
They've
there's
been
a
the
chance.
most
Jack
consistent
never
team.
Jack
in
has
the
Give me
never
number
even
two,
looked
number
like
one.
this online. He's never even looked like this online, and now you're
Number 2 or number 1?
I'm just saying. Okay,
you
number
got?
2, I have G2. They have done it before. They have won a major, but they don't look like the same G2 right now. So I'm a little bit concerned, but I'll put them number 2. And then, of course,
Okay.
you know it's me. Number 1 is
Man.
FaZe. They are the best international team based on average placement. Yes, they
You
don't
said
win those
win!
majors. They
You
don't
said
win.
win!
They don't win, but they have upgraded massively with Mist.
So
I
you
think
talk
that is
about the
answer
FaZe
that they
Clan
need.
upgrade, but not the
Yeah.
Space Station upgrade.
Sir.
Space Station hasn't even won a regional, all right? They haven't won literally anything. At least FaZe can do that, all right?
No, you said
All right.
you said that all that matters is you don't care about placement, you
Yes,
don't care about anything,
exactly.
you just care
This
about who
is the
wins,
answer.
and you picked the
Yeah.
one team on the list that hasn't ever won. I'm so okay. Whatever.
Mist,
We'll,
yes, Mist will bring FaZe to the promised land.
we'll see what happens, folks. That's Gibbs is guessing for sure, folks. Let's talk about the points race, though. Let's move it back, okay, to talking about the teams that and what they have to play for today, because overall placement in the North American standing is going to be very important as we head into seeding for Rotterdam. Lots of money on the line also regionally here, Gibbs.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Like, if you win this first round, you get an extra 11,500, then you're playing for another 10K on top of that. 30,000, 20,000 points are very important. 3 points if you win this first round, 4 points if you come in first. So let's take a look at where these teams land. Number 1 seed is very important. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we have 4 teams left that can move around, and obviously version 1 can still move around. They're sitting at 3rd, but they're not playing today. Version 1 will finish either 3rd, 4th, or 5th based on what happens today. Space Station can finish in any of the 5 seeds still. So they're 4th right now,
Wow.
but they can still finish in any of the 5 seeds. Then we got FaZe can finish 1, 2, or 3, and Gen.G can finish 1 or 2. Now, the importance of all this is because you want the number 1 seed. Now, if you're NA 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, or 5 seed, you're playing a European team or you're playing the Falcons in round 1. If you are the NA 1 seed, you're playing the OCE number 2 seed. And I'm not trying to discredit OCE, but I would much prefer to play the OCE 2 seed than a European team or Falcons. I'm sorry.
I think
But
everybody
that is the
agrees with
case.
you. I think everybody agrees with you. And it's so important. I talked about this at the end of the day yesterday. It's so important to get obviously the best seeding coming into the major because you can build momentum early on, and that gives you so much confidence on that stage. You know, gives you even talking about predictions. Oh, they're getting nervous on the stage. You don't like them on lands, but having a good seed could cure a lot of those
first
mistakes
round,
and those
big win.
issues in the first round.
Absolutely. Like, that is very huge because if you start out 3-0, then you might get an easier round 2 matchup as well. So it could definitely catapult you through the Swiss.
If Space Station, who control their own destiny, can finish any spot
Oh,
here,
yeah.
if they beat FaZe, do they gain spots on your list, on this abominable
At least
list?
one.
No, if
bro.
Space Station wins a regional, so at first I had Space Station 3, and then I remembered that they haven't won anything in 19 months, so I moved them down to 5. I need to see them win a regional.
Don't tell me you had
I don't know,
Gen.G at
man.
4 to start your list.
Oh, I did. I
you
love
kidding me?
apparently Jack, but his land performance have been scary. Okay.
Wow.
I'm worried.
Okay. Well, let's remind you guys what's coming down the pipe here is the bracket we're going to be playing through the course of today. We're going to get through that grand finals and crown a champion here for the Fall Invitational before we end our broadcast. The schedule for the day, we'll have both semifinals happening before we get to that grand finals. Grand finals going to be at the end. We don't know who's playing in it yet. Space Station will also face off against FaZe Clan here in just a moment. But before we do that, Gen.G Mobile Run Racing taking on G2 Esports. G2 looking to bounce back after a shaky fall split in general here, Jordan.
Yeah, Gen.G against FaZe. This one is going to, or excuse me, G2 FaZe, messing myself up. Saying FaZe
Jordan
earlier.
on Twitter, folks.
But this is one where I'm actually scared for G2 because unlike Gibbs, I am wholly impressed and sold on this Gen.G roster. And it's not just because of apparently Jack. It's not just because of Nolly. It's Chronic. This guy has been a massive pickup for this team. He was integral in their series yesterday in the quarterfinals. This man made a couple heroic saves, even put on some banger shots. Chronic has been the third that has helped elevate Gen.G above where they may have been, depending on if they picked up anybody else. And while G2, it looks like they figured it out. You know, they've been hitting the replay review. They've been doing really well. I'm scared for them because you watch out for apparently Jack. He is always hunting downfield. He'll sit downfield even when his team doesn't have possession of the ball. He's got so much faith in Nolly and Chronic to feed the ball to him downfield. And he can cause a nuisance in 1,000 different ways to you on defense. I watched him do it in the quarterfinals yesterday. I watched him do it in Swiss. Like this guy he is a conductor. He's a true conductor, and he's got two incredible talents to help him get the job done and write the song. Gen.G are so powerful here. I honestly don't think G2 have it.
They've been really close too in every single grand final. And I mean, even on the timeline when you're looking at apparently Jack, he's talking about how painful it is to obviously go down, and he's going to try and go for 150 hours the past 2 weeks for Regional 3. Well, we've arrived at Regional 3. Let's see if he can live up to that. He definitely popped off yesterday in his series and was controlling a lot of the pace. And for me, I'm also a big believer in Gen.G. And for G2, I think a lot of the pressure is off their shoulders now that they've clinched a major spot. I don't know how that's going to affect their performance here. A lot of teams will play better because the pressure's not on the line. But for me, I think G2, they might just chalk this one up because they've already secured that spot and the pressure's not there. Meanwhile, for Gen.G, they're hungry.
Yeah, I mean, three chances in a row here, Gibbs, to play in a grand finals. They've gotten into the grand finals twice in a row, fallen apart both times here. At what point does that start to be a negative, this consistency of getting it almost the whole way but not quite making it?
I wouldn't worry about that too much because they're at least playing well throughout the brackets. I'm a little bit more worried about their day one performance. They look a little bit more normal on those days, 3-2, 3-1, and a 3-1, including for now, we saw like in the Invitational switch, they played G2 and G2 won 3-1. So G2 has the head-to-head advantage from 2 days ago. So G2, I think, are favorites in this matchup, just barely, but yeah.
Okay, well, let's make some predictions here. Chat, let us know who you think is going to win in the Verizon fan vote. Hashtag G2, hashtag GGM1. Turtle.
Oh, man. I'm just trying to figure out what chat's going to go for this. I think this is my biggest concern because I already know I'm going with Gen.G. I have to back the consistency of this team. I agree with Jorby. Chronic is that guy right now for this team, and Abjack has certainly stood up to a lot of these challenges. And I don't know. There's something about speaking it into existence that I really respect out of that on the timeline. And I for that reason alone, I think I'm going to give it to Gen.G.
Jorby?
Playoff days, Gen.G's just different, and their defense is just different. I got Gen.G here. G2 fall in the quarterfinals.
Gibbs?
Or semifinals.
Do you know what happened in game one between G2 and Gen.G in Swiss? G2 won 8-0.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, the game after they lost 5-1, so, you know, whatever, but it was 8-0. That's pretty impressive. G2, I'm going with them. They won the series 3-1. I think they can do it again. I think it's time for G2 to get back on top of NA.
Okay.
I don't know. Give me Gen.G. I don't know.
Ooh,
this
okay.
they go 8-0 and then they go 5-1. How are we supposed to do our jobs up here? Like, I don't know. There's nothing.
It's Rocket League.
How does chat feel about it, folks? G2 is usually pretty strong in these votes, but Gen.G going to be the fan favorites coming out of the event, folks. Let's get into game number one, the first semifinal to send one team through to the Grands. We have G2 going up against Gen.G Mobile One Racing. Let's get over to the Verizon Skybox with our casters for game number one.
Welcome in, everybody. Championship Sunday. A spot in the finals, potentially 3 straight for Gen.G. That being said, G2 starting to get a leg back up on them as time has gone on. Stumpy, Desk, a little bit split, leaning towards Gen.G. How do you feel about it?
I mean, Desk are split, their past results are split. Each team, they've faced off, twice against each other. It's been 3-1 both ways. But G2, they won that most recent matchup back in the Swiss. But I'm going to be honest, there's a little bit of bias from me. Gen.G, the European lads, Nolly and Jack, I can't go against it in the North American regional. I've waited so long to cast these guys since they come over to America, and I'm super excited they were able to see them. But this is going to be their hardest challenge to get through into that grand finals for the 3rd time in a row.
I've certainly had my fair share of Gen.G in the booth, and I will admit I'm also quite excited to get back in here with them. They're a lot of fun to watch. They tend to pull off some insane defensive plays and have strong counterattacks from the side walls. We'll see if that can come to fruition against a very aggressive Chicago. Really got a good look at the G2 structure yesterday. Chicago was playing incredibly aggressive and really trying to put a lot of pressure on his opposition, and see if he can break up some of those Gen.G counterattacks, as currently Gen.G looking for a foothold in the blue half. The long clear going to prevent all of that from becoming a thing.
Killed it. Both of these teams are like, they're looking to be as aggressive as they can. Gen.G, when you look at how they want to play these games alongside G2, although Gen.G leads statistically along a lot of these things that we tend to look at when we look at their performance throughout this season so far, Gen.G are up there. They've got a lot of aggression. They go for a huge amount of shots. Jack especially.
They got
shots and goals. And going early on, sometimes you don't need to go for those crazy fancy shots. We have seen them pull out of the bag in the previous regionals. Sometimes it's a case of, see their back line is pushed up a little bit too far and you just need to lob them.
That is just a little bit too far. Atomic kind of thinking that maybe Chicago is going to have that challenge a little bit closer to him and be able to kick it left or maybe even forward, and unfortunately dead wrong, lost it outright. Got caught leaning. Chicago blasted it right side. They bring it right back.
And the pass from J-Nabs, I thought he saved it and messed this up, but look at how he approaches it. Goes on there and then backflips, gets it back out. The pass to Chicago, perfection. Apparently Jack left grounded with his jaw on the floor next to him. That pass from J-Nabs, sublime.
That was beautiful from J-Nabs, indeed. Way to get yourselves right back in it, especially after you give up a goal like the first one they gave up. You're kind of like, you don't really feel like they earned it. They just caught you leaning a little bit. So it's good to get yourselves back in order, and Gen.G and try and reassert control here.
I think the Gen.G are so good at as well when they just wrestle the control back as often as they like. And the demo from Nolly opening up Atomic on the back, sends him off for a 3-second nap and gets the shot out from apparently Jack. The goal still from Chronic. You love to see it. Taken away from Jack being first in goals by just a smidge, getting over 1 per game and yet to score in this one.
Great understanding from Nolly as well. I mean, that ball went up in the air and he instantly took off the ball cam, started looking for Atomic. He understood that G2 structure and knew there was only one man back. Chronic whiffs on one. Probably could have put J-Naps in a tough spot, but who knows if J-Naps would have stopped it. Everyone knows he can play defense with the best of them as well. As Atomic gets a freebie, a missed touch from Nolly. Disaster for Gen.G.
And these teams just split by that hair yet again. A mistake from Nolly. Not even a touch on that. It's not even a bad one. There is just no touch at all on Atomic. Every now and then you're going to be handed that free goal on a platter. You might see that rotation as that's a little bit, hoping that he's going to miss that ball. 99 times out of 100, nobody at this level is going to. But that one time, you're going to be thankful that you were lurking.
And it's definitely something Atomic likes to do. He does tend to position so that if there is a mistake, he will capitalize. That's one of his favorite spots to be in. It's generally everyone's favorite spot to be in. If you're playing ranked, it's always the don't mess up position, as I like to call it.
When you're on the backboard and you see a player come in and just lurk, you're like, oh, pressure's on, lads. There's every chance I miss this, so I'm praying.
Into the middle. Apparently Jack finds a gap in the net right over J-Nap's shoulder.
And a lovely pass coming out too. Chicago being quite loose with that ball, sends it into the corner when Nolly, he was waiting himself. It doesn't roll up, it just bounces out, and then Nolly with that touch. Jack read that play perfectly, sends it top corner, and it is back and forth. Only just gone over half time and 5 goals in the game already.
Really looking for bit of stability for both teams at this point. You both know that they can capitalize and at least get out of their own half. No one's really getting pinned in. It's just a matter of, okay, we just have to hit the ball when we're on defense a little bit better, take care of it a bit more, and we'll be in better shape.
I love that from Jack too. It was G2 looked a little bit scared. They knew that what Jack can do. His ones are what he is famous for ultimately. And the fact that he had 0 boost and still pushed 2 defenders back and away, the respect that G2 holds to his name is going to potentially open up a lot of plays for apparently Jack. Chronic works his way down the pitch, is blocked out by Atomic, and Gen.G opts to go low with that ball. Jack thought that he was going to go high with it, and so has mispositioned himself.
Ooh, okay, but the demo comes through, and that means Nolly is really messing with the timing here. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough pieces in front of the net to get one through, but definitely taking great care of the ball as they move on to offense right there for Gen.G, and I'd like to see them really trying to put G2 through their paces.
Gen.G yesterday, they were really putting V1 through their paces. V1 looking like they were shut down and near enough every opportunity they were given when they ended up beating them 4-1, a huge win for Gen.G. They are the #1 team going into this regional as well. They've already made it to LAN, as have G2. But it's all about seeding from now on, and Nolly clearing into the corner, sees Chronic waiting for it with low boost though. He just has to boom, and we enter the final minute, and we've been goalless for about a minute and a half so far.
Definitely wanted the stability. Well, you got it. JNAP's in a perfect landing spot to surprise apparently Jack, and you may see Gen.G here start to give a little bit of ground just to favor stability. You're under a minute. Chronic just goes straight towards the net to force G2 to respect it, and that'll waste a few seconds, but apparently Jack didn't really have anywhere to go with it. Could be a good G2 counterattack as Chicago misses the flip reset. JNAP's uncontested, and apparently Jack to safety from the back wall.
That's got to just be a shot from JNAPS too. He went for something slower, tried to get that goal from something rather than just hitting it hard. But as saw from Nolly, that worked earlier on. The final 20 seconds sees Gen.G on this push though. Apparently Jack onto the side, gets shut down by JNAPS. Corner pass towards Atomic, the pinch not coming in, so Jens has to turn back, and Nolly touching it lightly to himself, then goes to the fake around the side. Chronic to shoot, Nolly to bump, 4 for Gen.G.
You could just feel Chronic lining this one up. Nolly picks off the weak touch, and Chicago is unfortunately facing backwards. He has no way to actually challenge Nolly at point of contact. Has to just try and stall it out. Does his best, but Chronic with a lot to pick from puts this one on ice, and Gen.G going to walk away with game 1, assuming that this kickoff goes neutral, and indeed straight out to the side.
So that gentle touch from Nolly is something that I've been really appreciating from pros recently, where they just deal with the recoil so well. Whether I'm going to air roll into the ball and then send it a little bit further than you would have seen previously, you know, getting it dead on that corner, or they absorb it, like when you're catching and you sort of cushion the ball with your hands. Just being able to do that with the car, and then it just stays so close to you. I saw it yesterday in the series I was with Stacks. I believe it was LJ at the time, or Daniel, where they just caught the ball so perfectly on defense, and then from being in the air dribbled it. And it's blown my mind, that amount of control that they've just got. And Nolly showing off exactly how he needs to do. Ends up being bottom of the scoreboard by 7 points. Not going to hold it against him. 4-2 Gen.G over G2 in that first game.
I got a little bit slapdash at the start. You didn't really know what to expect from both teams. Some uncharacteristic errors for both sides, but at the end of the day, Gen.G comes out on top, and it was really, I think, the physicality in front of the net that gave them a lot more to work with. Not really used to seeing G2 get punched out of the way so often and allow that many open nets.
Yeah, I mean, Nolly, he was the one punching that hole time and time again, just getting rid of as many players on the back line as he could, but without breaking that rotation, which is such an important balance to try and strike, where your teammates know, okay, you're not going for the ball, that means I can come in, but you have to come back if this ends up going wrong. Gen.G playing that balance to near perfection. You can get a few more demos in there, I believe in you lads. Try and break that that demo amount. You got 20 in that one game last weekend. Apparently Jack receiving that ball, and Chicago coming out with a demo on Nolly on Aqueduct.
Yeah, and it's a good idea because Gen.G having that deep rotation back and Chicago finding that person means Gen.G has to cover a lot of the pitch right now. So the structure, while they've definitely respawned here, is definitely not exactly where they would like to be positioned. They are kind of playing this a little bit awkwardly, and Chronic making the right choice, try and bring it down on a dribble, force possession, slow the play down, let everyone really get set. There's a Chronic, that is Atomic, excuse me. I can read words. There's too many A's and C's and names that I just gonna get twisted up here.
And don't even get him started on the amount of G's in this series either. We're looking at way too many. But the first minute has gone differently to how we saw in that first game. We're seeing no goals go in by this point. I think we have 3. The Nolly then with 0 boost. He actually burned a lot with not gaining too much ground, but apparently Jack with 30 and misses on that side. He's going to be able to pass it central. Just a little bit of confusion in the corner, but the ball's still maintaining control in the favor of Gen.G.
Really like to see Gen.G slow that one down there in the corner as well. If you're going to send that many people, you might as well make sure you take the challenge properly, and that's going to ricochet straight towards Nolly. He's going to let it go. Apparently Jack just has to trap it to buy time, and Gen.G just waiting to see if something materializes. There's a little more physicality. Double demo. Atomic one-on-one. Top corner bar down out. Achronic's going to need help. He's going to leave it for Nolly. Flip reset to get over the defense. Here's apparently Jack off the wall. The third man gets slowed down by JNAP's getting in his face. And Gen.G leave one on the table.
Oh, Gen.G just alley-ooping all their way to Saturn. Just they couldn't quite make that play work in the end. So they continue with the attack onto the backboard. Chronic then finally going low. They send it a couple meters below where they were absolutely denting the backboard, and finally they get the opener.
Apparently, Jack, it works both ways. It's the takeaway from JNAPs, but also the pressure of the shot on goal. What a touch from him. Doesn't end up going in, but it does set up Gen.G to come back through, and holding G2 to 0 shots right now. Gen.G, a great job, like you said, alley-ooping their way all the way to Saturn.
I don't know what it means either, mate. Just don't.
I don't know how they stayed on offense. I really thought a clear was going to come through it somewhere along the line, but they rallied pretty quick after kind of leaving one wishing that they could have executed a little bit more, and that's just as impressive to recover that quick and restart the offense.
Well, it's what we're seeing, going through those rotations by the back corner boost. And when they're burned for 10 seconds, you're then leaving pennies on the floor for G2 to try and collect. If they can't get them, then it becomes a lot harder. Nolly clearing away that attempt with Atomic continuing to push. They can't quite continue on that one, and JNAP sending it lazily into the corner. He was up a little bit too late. His car isn't angled quite right for it, and this is how you clear a ball. Apparently, Jack going straight into the skies doesn't secure that flip reset. Chronic has to dash back to get that roll-away shot. The challenge coming from the corner from Chicago. JNAPs, though, continues to lure. Good opportunities for G2, but Atomic shies away from that ball in entirety.
You really think that he could have applied a lot of pressure there, too. That wasn't the cleanest catch from Chronic. He definitely didn't look like he had full control over it, but who knows? Maybe it was a call-out that someone wasn't going to be back late, and rather than conceding a potential strong counterattack, just said take the one-on-one on the sidewall where it's a little bit safer and take our chances elsewhere, as Chicago's denied by apparently Jack.
Good demo in the midfield as well. Jack getting rid of Atomic, and Nolly can just dribble it in. There were 2 defenders back, but neither of them wanted to go for the attack.
Yeah, the demo on front of contact. JNAP's got punched as well, so apparently Jack, he's not involved in the stat line at all, but he's the only reason it goes in. The demo to stop Nolly from getting challenged, and the bump on JNAP's to secure the lane all the way to net. Huge play from apparently Jack.
Nolly, though, with 0 boost in the corner, has to try and work something from this, but with 2 goals up in the good, with 90 seconds remaining, forces G2 to attempt to get some shots on target. They have 2 so far. That's as many as apparently Jack has in total. The lowest shooting player on Gen.G. They've been pinned back entirely. Ollie! No way!
Just give him the ball. Apparently Jack says go get it, catches the flip reset instantly and catches it with force, catches the rebound off the ceiling, and Nolly, he's getting one right now.
That's North America's #1 player. Nolly being able to drop the 3rd goal for Gen.G. That's his 2nd in this game, and JNAPs needs to try and start something with that attempt off the kickoff immediately. Aquadome has firmly been in the favor of Gen.G. Nolly instead going for the bump. Atomic has to get that late read and goes to in and out, bumps Atomic out of the way. Turns into that back corner, slowing it down. Apparently Jack is up with 67 boost. He passed it over towards Chronic. Nolly is waiting central. He doesn't need Nolly. Chronic, he just needs 30 boost.
Just taking what they're giving him as Chicago chance to score a double tap, denied by apparently Jack. It's straight to Nolly. Is it in the net? Atomic is saying go away, please. Don't like these long clears.
Stop it. Oh man, I love just seeing how they right now G2 they need to sit back, otherwise they concede their 4. Like, it's all well and good trying to push for that goal, but if you then go down by another shot, this game is pretty much done regardless. You're not going to be seeing a 3-goal come back in 20 seconds at 99.9% of games, but getting that 4th is going to be a bit of a momentum shifter. Chronic across the Nolly, tries to go for that slow roll. Chronic again back to Jack, bottom corner. The opposite post, the fake out from Nolly. This time, no goal coming from that play. We enter a new phase. 5 seconds remain. This has been dominant from Gen.G.
it is not very often you see a game where a team literally just drove circles around G2. That does not happen often. And yeah, timeout G2 here, 100%. Chicago has 54 score, kept dead silent, goose eggs across the board. That's points from a few touches and maybe a clear, maybe 2 or 3 clears, and Gen.G driving rings around him in game 2. That was sick.
That is, that was sick in the way of good and also a bit disgusting from what we saw coming out from Nolly. And I mean, that is what we're seeing right now from, and actually, I'm going to say, North America's #1 versus North America's #5 team, if we're looking at the rankings. Pre-season, would you think that I meant Gen.G at #1 there and not G2?
No, absolutely not. I don't think anyone had Gen.G anywhere near the top 5, maybe top 8, maybe
I don't know,
contention
top 5.
Maybe for a potential major spot, sneaking in there with a good record, everyone expecting some adjustment time, but no, just walked in and decided to just run the table, apparently, as they appear to be well on their way to their 3rd grand final in a row, as G2 Esports. Even Sathy there got to pinch the nose a little bit, self-soothe, trying to figure out what's going on here.
I mean, I spoke to Chicago yesterday after his series when they managed to win that, obviously, versus Complexity. And he was saying that we had that big sit down. Again, a brilliant article over on Shift, with an interview with Sathy, where they're saying we had to have a really big sit down and be incredibly honest with each other. It wasn't working. We came 9th to 11th in the previous regional to this one. That is, for G2, embarrassing. You don't do that especially when you've got this 3rd invitational coming up. And that sit down from Chicago's perspective, he said it was needed. We needed to be honest with ourselves. That's not the team that they are. And Sathy, I love that when we came to their cams, we saw him smiling. He's like, look, guys, they're playing really well, but we can, I'm sure, play better because we can. Like, we got to the grand finals at Worlds. We have won these events many, many times. We've won a major ourselves. We can do it. Like, these are the new kids on the block. Let's show them what the oldies can do.
Well, currently the big difference appears to be perfect flip resets from Nolly at any given moment to actually beat a defender and not get bumped off the ball. Because he's able to stick with it too. Because a lot of times you see people start these air dribbles and then they get punched right after they get the touch so that the continuation of the play can't actually occur. And Gen.G they're just getting around defenders, which of all things is not something you'd think would happen at that G2 midfield line. So in game 3, you really hope to see the challenge game dial itself in.
There we go.
Who cares about the challenge game? J-Naps just rips one in off the kickoff, I suppose.
There we go. Fair enough. Chicago with the kickoff.
Jack, it doesn't even look like he moved.
Apparently Jack was still sipping his massive water bottle. He'll be like, right, it's the series and we're down. Okay, cool. All right, fair enough. I guess I'm going to just score a couple of sick goals myself then. Chronic doesn't have the boost to go for that one off the kickoff, but going in the favor of Gen.G to begin with. G2, what an incredible start you can have by essentially beginning this game with a handicap and getting a goal in 5 seconds.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better start after the timeout. As Chronic, uncontested in the middle of the field around J-Naps, and there it is again. He gets through 2 people challenging him, gets the bump, and it's all a 1v3.
And it's all over for G2 on the back. Chronic gets that sideways flip reset and then immediately has target acquired on J-Naps. Nobody is getting out unscathed. Gen.G with a banger of an equalizer.
Handicap erased. Forget it. 0-0, 4:30. Apparently Jack working his way out, and you just got to be so annoyed if you're G2. You don't know how you're not getting in their face and taking them off the ball as Chronic changes up the timing in the corner. Chicago comes up empty. They go for a pinch up the field, and G2 is just looking for an out right now, and this should put them in a position to do it.
See G2 at the back just being pushed. Yeah, they can't come out of their own half. The boost isn't looking too bad for them, though. They've all got like over 70, but not
You're joking.
Below. Nearly getting that one. Chronic going to the opposite corner, and then Atomic sending it high. Who's there? It's Chicago has to play it off his own backboard. Nolly's going to be turning around instead. Jack with 70 has to turn on it. Doesn't quite manage to steal that 100 boost, and that is massive for Atomic because now he can push and get behind J-Naps who had 0, but he does manage to get around him. Nolly getting a lot of brilliant clears here. Gen.G, that one a potential chance to score, but I'm sure they're going to know, okay, we had a couple chances in the previous game and we still won it like 3-0, so no problem, lads. We continue to push.
Definitely a mistouch there for Gen.G, though. Gave G2 a chance at sticking on offense. They find the second opportunity to clear the ball, though. Now it's them trying to force G2 back into their own side. Apparently Jack with an aggressive volley. It's straight in. It's straight in.
How's that happened? That is such a gentle touch considering how fast he was going into the free flip. And then it just taps so lightly behind in between both defenders.
Ball, but Chicago doesn't even go for it. And so the angle is just straight into the net.
Cover your goal, Chicago. But I mean, also, when is Nolly ever challenging that? When's anybody challenging that? It's like in ones where you see in your occasional Apparently Jack video who goes, why is he gone? Why has he challenged that? What is he doing? And that is what Nolly is embodying, going for everything he can and surprising G2.
Well, G2 still within one. Not even halfway through. There's a lot of time left, but when you just... Oh, you're kidding. The perfect clear towards the goal. Chicago on the wall. Here comes Gen.G. Leaves it for apparently Jack straight down, but unfortunately, since they double committed, Chronic wasn't going to be there for that counterattack. Bears no fruit, and Gen.G just going to try and hold on for a few more seconds.
2 minutes 20 remaining, and Gen.G continue their hard-line, full frontal attack, and Nolly trying to lure in a couple of defenders, because I think he's also realized that, well, with that demo, that's nice, actually, and again, open. We're seeing that when Nolly is going for those kind of plays, he's luring in 1.5 defenders at the moment. He's aiming to bring in at least one, hoping that it's going to be over one, trying to get the 2 defenders that are going to be able to come in, because that's going to open up the play and being that absolute playmaker for apparently Jack for Chronic.
Ooh, big bump from apparently Jack. Forces JNAPS into a race. And G2 starting to get a little bit more of a handle on the... Oh, no. Atomic comes up empty and will get punished.
Look at Jack. Look at Jack in the camera, literally screaming and rocking, going, let's go. That is pretty bad from Atomic, let's be honest. But Jack to hang around and just get that final shot. It was Nolly's pass as well. Wasn't great. It was one that I'd make in ranked. I'm like, I've just given the possession away. And Atomic, he just could not make the touch. And immediately outsped. It's a story of 4 goals in game number 3.
Oh, this dead stalemate of a kickoff. Nolly comes into the second challenge just a minuscule amount of time later. Goes straight through the defense, and Nolly in the perfect spot for it again. I mean... You felt like this one was just in hand 60 seconds ago. You were only down 1. And then bang, bang. And now you feel like you're totally out of it.
Just delivering that left-right goodnight from Gen.G, unable to do anything other than score a couple of worldies over towards G2. But G2, they had good opportunities, and they have given away, I'd say, 2 of these goals by just clear errors, unforced errors as well. A lot of talks need to happen, because that is a problem, especially... I'm not even going to talk about that, because I need to see what happened again.
He owned goal. The JNAPS is trying to steal this pass here from Chronic. You can see it headed towards apparently Jack or Nolly, and it's just straight off the headlight under the bar. That is the embodiment of nothing is going our way.
Yeah.
You're a G2 fan.
Yeah, not nice to look at, but for a lot of G2 fans, you're going to be happy that you have secured the major at this point. You've got the major in hand. Axel lost yesterday, and so therefore G2 are in as that 5th with no tiebreaker needed, as far as I am concerned, or as far as I am aware. Apparently Jack now to this ceiling, trying to get another one. The bump also coming in from Nolly. I love
you guys don't need 6. Just throw the ball away.
No. Achieved. They don't need 6. They need 7.
Oh, you right? My mistake.
They need 7 achieved, of course.
My bad. Boy.
Fair play, that's nice.
Used to enough counterattack, and at this point, if you're G2, you just want to see 1 go in.
This is the most garbage times I've ever seen in my life. Oh. I'm going to be honest. Like, this is where 0 matters. Like, everyone's just sort of getting a touch on the ball. This is what the lobbies look like, by the way, when they're testing the...
They warm up, this lobby good, bang. Get towards the net.
I'm expecting the admin now, after that one, to type, ready to go? All right, wait until I say go, then you can join up. Next one's live. But that is 5-2 with a full garbage time goal for G2. And that's after the timeout. They went down by 2. They took a timeout, and then they conceded more. Like, what do you do?
it didn't feel like there was any significant adjustment or anything. I was really looking for the challenge game, and yeah, it kind of started to equalize a little bit, but in terms of the general output from G2 over on the other side, about the same. And the same for Gen.G. It's not like they were even preventing any shots on target. I mean, the timeout may have been most beneficial just to try and keep the mental game in check, because you just got smashed 2 games straight, and then you go out there in game 3 and it's more the same. Ugh.
I mean,
It's not good.
Right now, Gen.G are outscoring G2 12-4.
4, yeah.
They've scored 300% of the goals that we've seen come out. Like, they have been, and you see this happen time and time again whenever we see Gen.G on these championship Sundays when they're trying to gun to get that title. And you look at how they approach the series, and they go all out. They score 1, cool, where's the next? They score 3, cool, where are the other 2? They continue to push, and they never sit back. They never turtle. They just make sure that they are pushing as hard as they can at every given opportunity, and G2 are inherently and entirely unable to deal with that pressure. But we do see every now and then, after 3 dominant games, that game 4 is different. We see then that win come out, and that is what G2 are praying for right now. They need that win, otherwise it's going to be a 4-0
Oh no! Look at
embarrassment, and Nolly continues the pain.
Look at Chicago here. He's going to recover, and then there goes Atomic. He has to give the space.
Yeah.
Because apparently Jack is saying, if you go, you're dead. And Nolly's just waiting, saying, give me 5 inches. 5 inches, and I'm through. Apparently Jack gave him 2 feet, and he scored.
Apparently Jack buying a mile, and you love to see just that amount of teamwork. But JNavs on that backline has to try and get something from this. Chicago backflipping.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
2. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this semi-finals. We're going to be going to an early break because, as far as I'm concerned, this is over.
Chicago, I don't even think he necessarily misplayed it that bad. He definitely was getting ready to head towards the corner and support his teammate, but the challenge just went straight over his teammate's head, and worst case scenario, it's a soft one, so the bar down and in is good. 30 seconds in, and boy, oh boy, long road back now for G2.
Yeah.
I don't even like saying that it's genuinely a blowout. Like,
Jesus, it's 14-4, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not pretty for G2. Nolly with a brilliant save there as well, able to clear it away into the corner. Chronic resetting in defense.
There we go.
A lovely pass.
Oh my gosh.
Atomic has to shoot
Oh
on
my
target.
gosh.
Atomic!
It
Sorry,
can't
I
be
got angry.
real. It can't be. Yeah, that's the Shogun scream at Game 7, World Finals. Nailed the banger, but now it's just anger and sadness.
I'm
you have
fuming.
to be kidding me. How has it not gone in?
I tweeted before this series saying, this is series of the day. This is series of the day, no problem. But this is the series of a lifetime for Gen.G. Nothing is going right for G2. It's one they're going to want to forget, but they've still got 3.5 minutes of living through it. This is still in the present, it's not in the past. This has to be an almighty rally back.
You do have the time for it.
100%.
Boy, you just got to hang on to possession a little bit. They're starting to get that going a little bit here. They are pushing more and more on
Lovely
the orange
passes
pad.
as well.
Oh
All of
my
that,
gosh.
like, ignore that. Leading up to Atomic shot, those passes, I love them. They were great. They were finally getting around the side of Gen.G, but it just came down to you had a barn door to hit and you've sent it into the next town over.
How to recover one-on-one. Oh, and the soft chip with the demo.
God.
Look at this catch is immaculate.
I'm grossed out. I am disgusted. That is a fermented pile of awfulness coming from Jack. And JNaps can only stand there and be a target at the end of the range. 3-0 Gen.G. Disgusting.
You know, normally my co-caster makes me speechless, but I do not know what to say right now. Well played, Gen.G. Series of the day, perhaps, but not for the reason you thought.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gen.G, good morning.
How are you doing?
You came to play today, I can see that. You want another day? Oh, you're joking. You're joking.
Just shoot
That was
on target.
good.
That's it.
Yes.
Come on. Come on.
In the net.
It's only 15-5. All right, you've got your chances. Atomic, that catch is beautiful. Being able to dribble it central and then leaving away from that ball, getting yourself down, then Chicago comes in for the shot. That's great. You've outplayed all of Gen.G. Please continue with that momentum. That's got to be a little bit inspiring, but Chronic is going to try and shut down those dreams as best he can. G2, you've got 2 minutes, lads. Come on, push.
Well, it all starts with getting past the midfield line. The punt, certainly one way to do it, but it's hanging onto the ball that's the question. And the physicality finally missing for Gen.G. It is giving G2 some lines through JNaps. Hits a juicy one. Chicago trying to jam it home. G2 finally starting to come online here with about 2 minutes left.
Well, Chicago as well going for the bump on the back line, but apparently Jag disrupts that entire plan by just winning the ball instead. That one bouncing out of Chronic's control. Would have been out of Chronic's control and shied away from him, but with Nolly's such a close shadow up to his teammate, it just falls to him as opposed to anybody who's being proactive over on G2. Apparently Jag trying to tip it over the top. The final 90 seconds going to fall to Chicago on the left wing with JNap central.
Space trying to get the physical game going. Get some gaps somewhere on that G2 side, and there's 3 people just camped out on the Gen.G side. It's we're up by 2 with a minute left, and Atomic trying to buy as much time as possible. The physicality from Chicago as well, scaring off apparently Jack from the line as he actually times the fake challenge perfectly twice in a row, and finally JNaps will work his way through. Chicago finds a demo. The challenge going wrong, and a minute now. Gen.G just trying to hold on.
It's just every chance that we were seeing them have is something that I am shocked to see. You know, Jack is rotating in so closely, staying just shadowing that ball nicely. Chicago tried to shoot that one effectively, but with very little boost, he's unable to. Only just picked up 12. Nolly to tap it back behind him. 30 seconds left on the clock.
Here's the deep punt into the corner. Chicago is going to leave it for Atomic. Gives G2 again another punt and try and stretch one out. But when you've got everyone back from Gen.G, it's not going to work. You have to take a bit more of a cautious approach. As much as you don't like to do it with no time on the clock, you can't just throw it at them. They're too well set. And Chronic wants one off the ceiling. No, they missed. It didn't just go straight in.
What happened? The aim assist turned off. I can't believe it. And at the end of that series, we have seen a first arrive for G2. That is the first time they have been swept in any series since Atomic has joined them. And that is not a first that they are going to want to remember anytime soon. A dominant, a disgusting 4-0 for an incredible Gen.G Mobile 1 Racing.
Well, I thought Gen.G was going to make another grand final. Didn't think they were going to be able to look G2 in the face and absolutely annihilate them and just walk right through the door that G2 clearly didn't even show up to try and close. That's not even true. G2 didn't even play bad. I mean, Gen.G had all the answers. That's the wild thing. Yeah. Everything they went for worked. They just nailed it.
I think the only bad game that G2 had was probably that last one. Maybe the penultimate game.
That's true. I think Game 4 may have been the worst, considering that they could have made something of it, and they missed the shot.
They had some really good opportunities, and you know the fact that then you see them and you see those misses, and I'm going to say the tipping point, but the series is pretty much over by this point anyway. But Atomic missing that absolute sitter when Jack wasn't even on the floor and he was still recovering. That's when you're like, series done. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know where we can go from this. But Achieves, I know we can go from this, because after that quickest series in the world, not an overtime, just a 4-0 in our semis, we can go to a break, because afterwards we have got Space Station versus FaZe Clan to see who is going to be going through to those incredible grand finals.
a queen as long as you got a dream. Oh no, it's a lot. They just wanna take your life. Try to tell you it's a battlefield. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be. Wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Oh man, what a lie, what a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield, 1974.
Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say.
Well, that was quick, wasn't it? If you just tuned in and you were like, where's the first match? Well, guess what? G2 are already eliminated from the Fall Invitational, and it's thanks to these three. Gen.G, an incredible performance in the semifinals, and with me is apparently Jack. Jack, you guys had quite the performance out there against G2. Why was it so easy?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. And it was just, we just clicked in that series. Everyone found each other. We talked about what we needed to do to beat G2 beforehand. I raised a few points literally like 5 minutes before our series. I guess I hit the mark on all the points. So yeah, we just prepared well and performed well.
Can you give me an insight on at least one of those points? I know players don't like giving up their strats and stuff. I've been told this all weekend, okay? But can you give me one tidbit?
Yeah, I mean, we all know that G2 are a very aggressive team. So you can't let them kind of play their game. You don't want to play fast all the time, especially because they're just going to beat you. You just have to set up and challenge them when you're ready to.
Well, Jack, you know, there's a lot of talk about hours in Rocket League and how many you're putting into the game at any given time. You've been the talk around. People have noticed, but you've been putting in a lot of hours over the last 2 weeks. What number are you at right now?
I'm sitting around like 112 or 115 past few days. I was like 120 peak in the last week. So yeah, quite a lot.
I mean, right before we went live, you were kind of saying how, you know, you felt like it was easy to get to that point. So like, what do those hours entail for you specifically? Like, what does your time in Rocket League look like when you're in the game?
Yeah, so we do like 3 hours of scrims a day. And then I do about 2 hours of free play and about 3 hours of ranked. And obviously I stream and do YouTube videos. So, you know, the 3 hours of ranked or free play, you know, it racks up, you know, it goes by fast. So, and by then you've done 8 hours, and 8 hours a day, every day is close to 120. It's about 112. So yeah, it racks up fast.
Well, you tweeted out yesterday that you felt like, you know, and I feel like you tweet this every time, Jack, so I don't know when you're finally going to give yourself a pat on the back, but that you felt like you had some struggles yesterday. What did you feel like for you personally was the thing you had to work on to help your team succeed today?
I don't know really how to answer the question, because I think we were fine. We're very hard on ourselves. You know, we know how well we can perform. It's not that we played bad yesterday. It just didn't, sometimes in the high pressure moments, you know, when we're on 0 seconds, we gave up a few goals or gave up some goals on 5 seconds left, stuff like that. Today, we just knew that we had to perform well at every single moment. And I actually thought this was like, I didn't play individually well, but it doesn't matter because I was playing so well for my team and everyone was playing for each other. So it didn't matter that I wasn't scoring loads like usual. I wasn't, you know, assisting a lot of goals or, you know, getting involved that much. I was just doing my job, you know, cutting passes off and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, last question for you, Jack, before you can sit back, get ready for the grand finals. You guys have made all 3 of them in your first split in North America. Over on the other side of the bracket, who's the easier opponent for you to get your first grand finals win?
I mean, historically, we've had a good matchup against Space Station, and the matchup we struggled the most against is FaZe. So, of course, Space Station, but I think they're going to be a lot harder of a match next time we play them. They're a very, very good team. Either one is going to be extremely hard. I do think FaZe are going to win, though. Win the semis, at least, not the tournament, but yeah.
You guys beat them last time. You think you're prepared for them if you have to play them again?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're playing extremely well. We've only dropped 1 game so far in playoffs, so we're ready for anything.
Awesome. Great to hear it, Jack. You guys have looked incredible. Can't wait to watch you in the grand finals. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's an inevitability at this point. Gen.G in the grand finals for the North American Fall split here yet again. 3 for 3. Can they get the win this time? We'll find out. They just absolutely brutalized G2.
What just happened? What happened?
I didn't think I'd be here with you, Gibbs, this quickly. I'm going to be completely honest, mate. I thought I had a bit more time off.
This looks like that they're playing like the 25th best team in North America. Gen.G just showing up, and we talked about them. They played 2 days ago against G2, and that was a 4-game series. G2 won that 3-1. Nolly put in 0 goals. He was only involved in 2. Here, he's popping off 1.5 goals per game. He was involved in, I think it was 9 goals throughout this series, but all 3 members were putting in work. Apparently, Jack with the brilliant touch into the bump, just everything going right for Gen.G. And I knew it all along. As soon as the entire desk was 3 Gen.G and I'm the only one on G2, I'm sorry, G2 fans, but that was a smack. And that is not how you want to go to Rotterdam, but they will be there, but they're going to have to figure some things out.
They do not get a win today, unfortunately. Barely got a goal. FaZe Clan versus Space Station. Going to be the next match on the other side of the bracket. The winner of this will face off against Gen.G in the finals. Space Station and FaZe. What is becoming a classic match here in North American Rocket League. 2 strong teams looking to make it to the finals.
Yeah, and the fact that we're seeing FaZe and Space Station, 2 teams that we have been so excited to witness in these semi-finals, and FaZe especially, they recently, or back in the Fall Open, they beat Gen.G to take the win. They are going to be feeling like the favorites to be going through, but Space Station yesterday, they looked wonderful versus Knights. They were the only 4-0. They were the only sweep yesterday in our quarterfinals. And the fact that we were seeing LJ and Daniel linking up so incredibly well, it's something that I'm excited for personally. The fact that when we see not just the big hitters on the team going crazy, just Daniel, LJ getting involved as much as he can, that's something that I think FaZe are going to be having to change their playstyle to deal with.
And these 2 teams also played in that 2-0 round. So these were definitely the top 4 teams on the entire weekend for sure. In that series, Space Station won in 5 in overtime. So it was a very close set. Last time, Space Station has been talking a lot. They're like, we only lose to 1 team. And that is not FaZe. That is Gen.G. So they think that they can make this final for sure.
Well, chat, let us know what you think is going to happen in the Verizon fan vote. Hashtag SSG, hashtag FaZe. Depending on your feelings here. Stumpy? Thoughts?
I have lots of them. My head right now is saying FaZe, because I think FaZe out of these 2 are the better team. But yesterday, Space Station beat them in overtime. Was that realistically a 50-50? Isn't overtime as close as you like? FaZe, are they just destined for grand finals, or are they going back to that old form last season where they just loved a quarterfinals or a semi-finals? I will put myself down here as a full rematch. FaZe win, they go through to those grand finals. FaZe take it versus SSG. They are just incredible right now.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly close. This is a coin flip. I think FaZe, they have the best record in all of North America, and a lot of that is due to day 1 success. But Space Station wants to make that next move. I don't think it happens here, though. I want to see FaZe versus Gen.G for the number 1 overall seed in the finals.
Yeah.
So I think FaZe will win, but I think it'll be a lot closer than what we just saw.
Chat, I drew an F.
No. Curse.
Is it for FaZe? Except no. No, because this isn't the FaZe F. This F is for FaZe. Drop Fs in chat to pay respect. Space Station going to take it down and knock FaZe out of it, folks. We got his votes up here on the desk. We're split. What did you guys feel like in chat, though?
It's gotta be 50-50.
It's got to be pretty close. 60-30 there. Space Station, yep. They've been around for a while.
It's not gonna be 50-50. I'm sorry, FaZe does not have as many fans, I think. So the Space Station Arsenal fans are coming out for sure.
I agree. Space Station definitely a fan favorite, long-standing work here in Rocket League. But can they get through FaZe once again? What's gonna happen? This one, hopefully not gonna be a 4-0 smash. This one should be a banger. Let's get down to the Verizon Skybox. We got two lovely people there on the call. We'll take you through the action for game number 1.
Thank you very much, Wave Punk. We arrive on our second semifinal of the day. Perhaps a little bit faster than some people expected, Subi, but it is here at last. FaZe looking for a second go-around at Gen.G in the grand finals. And Daniel, new kid on the block, I guess not new anymore. I think he's the grizzled vet, and he's looking like the best player on Space Station. Can he get Space Station to their first grand final of the fall split?
You know, I've got to agree with you that all eyes are going to be on the baby goat Daniel in this matchup. But for FaZe Clan, they're looking to put a nice little bookend on the fall split, winning the first and third. It'd be pretty incredible if they could do so, but they have a very stout team in front of them in Space Station Gaming, and they've been finding their rhythm as of lately, and we saw that when they did play in that round, best of 2-0 matchup where it went to a Game 5 overtime, and Space Station came out victorious. So FaZe Clan going to be looking for a little redemption here.
And currently, it's Typical who hit a couple of wonderful shots over this past weekend. Being denied, Arsenal almost gets the dunk, missed, kind of puts his team in a tough spot. LJ realizes FaZe has recovered. Typical with first killer moving upfield. LJ to the side. Daniel gives up the corner boost just to start the counterattack a little bit faster. We'll see if Space Station have anything here. Going for the bumps, and Typical still makes the stop.
How is it that Daniel always finds so much open space? Just seems like he always has a ton of room to breathe. And great save there from LJ. Tough read above his head. The camera's always flying around. Tough to read that ball as Daniel space off the backboard. Pass to himself. Didn't think it was going to be wide open. And Mist holding down the back line. And Mist has been such an improvement for FaZe Clan, at least on the defensive half. He is just so stingy back there on that back line.
Daniel was locked in on where Mist was too. He was the one he was trying to beat. And Mist just patiently waited on that backboard, came up with another stop to stop Space Station from getting in good on the offensive side. Typical applying pressure. Daniel catches it with the wheels, which means he can actually head back to net and try and make a stop, but FaZe pushing hard, and
big miss.
The big miss means FaZe gets another look at things here. You need a strong clear right here, and LJ just gets a hand up. Missed with a double tap to prevent Space Station from moving out too quickly. The demo will help as well. Strong shot denied by first killer.
That's one thing that's kind of always plagued Daniel a little bit is his backboard defense. We've seen him have a couple air balls off that. Fake coming out from Typical, leaves it for first killer, and Daniel gonna clean this one up for Space Station. Halfway through game number 1, still all knotted up. Seems to be even as far as offense goes, but for FaZe Clan, being the statistically best offense in all of North America, gotta credit Space Station a little bit here at denying a lot of the shots that they've put on target.
Yeah, doing a really nice job not letting FaZe build that pressure consistently. Looking for first killer, Mist and Typical to really start to bite down hard in the midfield. Prevent some of these clears. LJ catches one a little too heavy. Means that they can actually really press out of the midfield line now. This could be FaZe's opportunity to try and build some pressure, especially with the missed double tap. Typical gets another look at it, tries to feed himself, and unfortunately just gets away from him. LJ with a punt clear, first killer returning fire. There's Daniel to meet him at the midfield line.
Things have slowed up so far in the second half of this game number 1. Battle for midfield ongoing, but missed a little bit of space. Gets it over Daniel. Shot coming, but LJ denies and pushes one back towards midfield. And here comes Arsenal, slowing things down off the side wall. That boost spawned at the worst time, and first killer gonna steal that one away. Here comes Mist. Big demo with the half, and numbers advantage really quick for FaZe, but Daniel, great defense.
FaZe trying their best, getting in Arsenal's face, and he's just able to take that to the corner. Typical, seeing if Daniel wants to go first. No, after you, my friend, I insist. And it will be Daniel who ends up winning all the challenges. Missed to re-pop it towards the net. Here comes First Killer to take it away. Misses the double tap. Fist to LJ.
Nice save.
And that's another save for LJ. 3 now. Only 2 on the docket, but that's the 3rd big stop in front of the net to prevent FaZe from getting out in front.
All 3 members of Space Station, 2 saves up on the board, doing a great job at denying every single shot that's been thrown in their way. And big challenge there for Daniel, as it looked like Typical had an opportunity at a 1v1, and Mist gonna bomb this one downfield. Typical's up, but Arsenal up a little too early. First Killer puts a shot on target. Couldn't find the upper 90, but seems like FaZe Clan starting to inch closer to blue territory.
Daniel making sure he's speedy on net. Arsenal one-on-one, and unfortunately First Killer has a much easier play. Daniel doesn't get a hold of it. The bigger problem is LJ not getting the challenge there against Typical, puts Arsenal in a jam. The First Killer has the angles all closed down. FaZe with a 24-second lead.
Great patience there from First Killer. Waiting on that ball to go right in front of Arsenal so he could 50 that into the back of the net. 20 seconds remain here in game number 1. Space Station need to get to work, but they've got to go the full length of the field. It's going to be tough when Typical's challenging balls early like that. And Daniel, again, so much free space. Push that one over, but LJ nowhere to be found. 5 seconds to go. Space Station need the game-tying goal. Aren't going to find it. And this ball going to hit the ground, and FaZe Clan take game number 1.
Yeah, Space Station going to be a little bit frustrated there. They felt like, I think, the execution kind of dropped off when it came to those last few seconds. The passes not quite where they needed to be. The challenges not quite lined up how they should have been. Unfortunately, I got what I wanted. I said I was expecting FaZe to kind of bite down a little bit harder. Then they really started pushing Space Station back and back. And while it never really resulted in pressure that Space Station couldn't handle, FaZe definitely driving the latter half of pace of play in that game.
Absolutely, and it really felt like Space Station didn't have any opportunities on the offensive side. We didn't see too many plays developing. We didn't see any passing plays, more primarily. But for Space Station, you got to be impressed with the defense that they put out in game number 1. But ultimately, FaZe Clan, just too much to handle there, especially in the waning moments of game number 1.
Yeah, so you're looking here for Space Station in game 2. Not a lot of physicality from either side in game 1, really. But you are hoping that Space Station is able to at least equalize, kind of fight for the ball in the middle of the pitch, if not, obviously, on the FaZe half. So, wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe go for the long clears if they've got good control of their corner boosts. See if they can just go fight one-on-one for the ball in the air. Not sure if they would win that battle per se, but it may be something they're a little bit more comfortable with, because it doesn't quite feel like the control of the ball is there to really make sure you find your way past those FaZe defenders.
I agree, and again, numbers advantage here for Space Station. LJ trying to beat out First Killer to that touch. Nice little pre-flip to catch up to this ball, but missed just too quick, and more importantly, the positioning much better. And here comes Daniel trying to get some offense going for Space Station. This is going to be a good ball, but Arsenal too far from the play. Typical fires on target a little too high, and it goes off the crossbar. And FaZe Clan once again pressuring in the blue half.
A lot of space to work with. Typical just chucks one up for First Killer. That's the prayer, because you've got the space for it, and if it gets back the other way, you know you've got 2 people there, so who knows. Daniel forced to go out sideways, really cuts one across the pitch. Kind of misses the second chain dash, which slows down the counterattack, and Arsenal is just going to try and drop this for his teammate, but LJ is just a little too hesitant. Actually got the foot reset and missed, was able to stick right with it. Throws him off the ball, but he recovers beautifully, and Daniel stays locked in on that approach.
One thing that Space Station fans should keep their eye on are the double commits that we've seen. We've seen Arsenal and Daniel get tied up midair, and Typical steals that ball away. Nice interception in the blue half, but LJ there just as added security, going to push this one downfield. And you see LJ head hunting, but FaZe Clan so aware, heads on a swivel.
There you go.
Just constantly staying out of the path of the aggression from Space Station.
Space Station trying to take a little bit of extra time, but they end up taking too much. Unclear comms between Daniel and LJ there about who needs to go for the ball, so that means FaZe surge forward here, pressing into that Space Station half, and that's kind of what we're talking about with the command right there from LJ. He tries to start on the L dribble, but did you see how far the ball just got away from him? And so he's kind of forced into a single trajectory. Not a lot of options there as that one ricochets off the backboard. Typical wishing he had that one back. It wasn't free by any stretch, but it was definitely available to score.
Definitely doable, and definitely a mistake from Space Station that they've got to keep their eye on. We've seen a few from them so far. as first killer gonna clean this one up, go back towards midfield, right over Arsenal, but LJ playing a little spread out. And again, one half of Rocket League has gone away, and we're all knotted up. These teams so close to one another in terms of skill. This ball all the way downfield, and Arsenal spawns on the right side of the ball, and it's right off of them. Worst case scenario turns into best case on that one, and Daniel again, tons of free space. Flip reset past LJ. LJ can't find the double tap, but Arsenal's there, and weak shot, push towards first killer.
Just wasn't really geared up to really take a strong shot. This one's gonna bounce around, and Typical can't squeeze it in between the post and the defender. It was a difficult shot, not even sure if it was actually possible, but FaZe gonna have to reset one more time. As Mist here, trying to find all the space he can as he pushes forward. Unfortunately, will lose possession. But FaZe starting to get a stronger grip as time has gone on. Forcing Space Station off the ball. First killer, where do you go with it? Straight to the wall to buy time for your teammates to move forward is the answer. LJ trapping it on a dribble, doing an excellent job moving forward. Can he get around Typical? And they cut out the hard pass into the middle.
Space Station still searching for some more shots in this game. So far, 2 shots in game number 2. You look over at FaZe Clan, 7 in this one, but Space Station done a brilliant job so far on defense. Arsenal puts a shot, trying to go close post and in, but the defender's well read as we're nearing 60 seconds to go here in game number 2, and here comes a shot from Arsenal. Plenty of time, the book comes out, and first killer can't jump up to get it, and Space Station take the lead.
You have to score that one. LJ, what a job in the midfield. Wins one challenge, dodges the bump, wins the second challenge towards his teammate. Not too hard, not too soft. Gets the bump on the net. LJ doing a lot of heavy lifting there to give a great look to Arsenal, but a late lead for Space Station here. FaZe, now you have to shove, and now the demos come online to slow down FaZe, as that's a pretty solid clear, actually. He catches 2 of Space Station in the corner. Mist just has to get through everyone, and Daniel shuts it down.
38 seconds remain here. Great touch there from Arsenal. LJ just trying to slow things down, realizing number 1 enemy of FaZe Clan right now is the game clock. Under 30 seconds to go. And Space Station Gaming put the pedal to the metal. LJ, great positioning on that one. Gonna read that from midfield, goes up to the ceiling, can't quite find it. And Daniel forced in a 3v1 situation. Arsenal gonna rotate back, and 10 seconds to go. FaZe Clan need 1.
Whoa, what a lift from Typical. Leave it for Mist. It's miscommed. First killer trying to pull off. Mist didn't think it was possible. He thought he was still gonna touch it, so they waste the chance to try and rip one on target. Mist still finds a floater forward. LJ's gonna try and drop it straight down. Mist going over Typical's head to line up first killer. Daniel's gonna throw it straight to the floor. Space Station equalized the series. A tight game 2 in general, just as game 1 was, but much better looking for Space Station. If only in the score department. Still felt like FaZe had a pretty solid hold over it for a while. It just took one big play from LJ to get it done.
Wow, look at the demos. 5 in favor of FaZe Clan to the 1 of Space Station. The aggression coming out from FaZe Clan, but ultimately Space Station getting the last laugh. And 2 games in, only 2 goals allowed. It is an absolute defensive masterclass from both sides. But ultimately, it's really boiling down to a battle over midfield right now. Both teams trying to get control of not only that, but the midfield boost and really trying to get their offense going. But neither team really able to put too much residency in their opponent's half.
Yeah, I am feeling like FaZe has a little bit better command when it comes to pushing forward, even if they don't necessarily have the follow-ups ready to go by proxy of Space Station's defense and how they're moving the ball around on their own half. But do feel like the mechanics are a little bit more dialed in on the FaZe side. Ultimately, though,
he left it.
Just missed it. It's okay. It didn't really matter. Daniel had a freebie here. Kind of wonder what happened to FaZe for how that happens. Mist is on the other side. First killers missed the challenge, and Typical, unlucky trying to buy time, just gets punted straight off the sidewall. That's how it all goes wrong.
I think Arsenal, if he does touch that, it ruins the entire play. I think he realized that. He tries to pull off of that ball and leave it for Daniel or LJ to clean up. His first killer is Typical, and what a save on the goal line from LJ. coming out of nowhere and keeping things on nil for FaZe Clan.
Oh, I mean, when FaZe moves the ball like that, it's money. What a stop from LJ. Picked the spot, nailed it. And unfortunately not able to add a second goal. Daniel gets it put over his head. He lifts it towards his net, and he will be denied. He may get the demo, but it will cost him precious speed.
Oh no, gets bumped at midfield, tries to catch up, inadvertently gets the touch, and that demo sends him away. Good heads-up play from Mist to just get in the line of the path there. And Typical credited with the goal on that one, and just like that, FaZe Clan bring us back tied.
Well, for all your good work, LJ, unfortunately, you're still tied as Arsenal trying to find a way through 3 FaZe defenders. First go to the corner, LJ to the wall, and immediately turned to scrap metal. FaZe is going to find a small line out of their own half, even if they don't necessarily have the cleanest possession. The boost steal will help prevent Space Station from having that strong of a push. Of course, as you say that, Arsenal wins a big challenge and just goes straight towards the goal line to slow down that FaZe support.
Yeah, the only player on Space Station with 0 boost, and he somehow manages to get a wave dash into that ball and win the 50-50 with no questions as LJ cuts off Typical, bombs this one downfield. Man advantage here for Space Station Gaming. LJ can't quite get the touch, and good challenge there from Mist, but Arsenal, again, too strong on these challenges. Seems like he is winning every single one that he comes in contact with, and plenty of time for Mist here. Daniel going to try and meet him in midair. Does so. This one going to waterfall down, and Arsenal well read.
It does feel like Arsenal's challenge game definitely coming a little bit more online as the series has gone on. At first, he was getting the ball get put by him a few times, and now he's really starting to get the nose on it. He'll let his teammate challenge here and size up Mist's approach one-on-one. Lets him show his hand, throws it off the ceiling. Daniel uncontested out of his own half. And FaZe camped out nicely here. Another tough call for Arsenal to make, and he will cover perfectly.
Wow, great ball control on that play. Not allowing that one to go to the top of the box, just keeping it right in front of him. Recognizing exactly where every member of FaZe Clan was and keeping that ball away from all 3 of them.
Got it.
Speaking of Arsenal, off the ceiling, can't quite find it. And LJ, big miss there. Gonna have to slow this one down, and Mist sent up and down the side wall, not knowing where that one's going. And here comes Arsenal again off the ceiling, wins that challenge, but missed there to clean things up.
Ooh, and he's going to lose out on the midfield boost as well. He may get caught with not a lot on his own side here, has to cover up, actually moves up with LJ at the same time, who I thought was really going to get challenged, but ultimately nothing too disastrous for Space Station in a situation that could have got dicey quite quickly, as the hard punt towards the SSG back wall means the deadlock will continue for at least another few seconds as Space Station and FaZe both going for the big, as Stax likes to say, dump and chase, and nobody really coming down with it cleanly.
Great opportunity here for Space Station, though. Minute and 40 to go here in game number 3. Extremely important here for either team. Want to definitely win games, that's a given. But when it has been so close like this, you got to play picture-perfect Rocket League. Any little mistake is going to be immediately just gobbled up and capitalized upon from your opponent.
It does feel when these games, when you tend to get these deadlocks like this where no one can really find any gaps, it's either the massive outplay, like when you had the LJ, get through all 3 players and make it as easy as possible, like that's the goal that gets scored, or you see someone just miss an easy touch and that gives it away for free or puts you in such a tough defensive position you can't make the stop. And rarely is it oh, look, we have a strong counterattack and the net's open or something like that. Everyone's just too locked into the rotation for that to happen.
And 40 seconds remain here in game number 3. Will we have our first overtime of the series? Not if Mist has anything to say about it. Tucks it under the crossbar, puts FaZe up.
Oh, look at this pass from Typical. Gets all the way in front of the ball to kick it back towards the top of the box, off of a play that is traditionally headed into the corner or towards the backboard, and Mist sinks an absolute money shot top of the net.
Not going to waste that opportunity. As we have seen, Few and far between in this series. LJ pre-jumps that, but Mist gets it right around him. Here comes Typical. Beat out by Daniel. 20 seconds to go. Great pass out of the corner from Arsenal, but Daniel a little too behind that ball as it goes into the opposite corner. And 10 seconds remain. Arsenal slowing this one down. Does he have the ability to get it forward? No. LJ gonna push this one up. Air dribbles available. Can't quite get there. Mist gonna kill it. And it stays alive. Up the side wall. Arsenal off the ceiling. This is an awkward play. Space Station Gaming have to pull out all the tricks from their bag that is available as LJ puts it up, and Typical's gonna say, bye-bye. See you later. FaZe Clan, game 3.
Everyone expecting that challenge at 0 seconds to go a little bit differently. Unfortunately, the only ones waiting there for it were FaZe Clan. Space Station trying to find a little bit of an extra gear there when they needed to score with about 10-15 seconds left. You start to see people really trying to get out in front of some of those clear lanes with big pre-jumps towards the ball. Fortunately for them, FaZe too solid defensively. It starts off with a nice, easy open net, but LJ,
incredible.
That fave was absolutely amazing.
Was incredible. I mean, not only the fact that he just read where it was going as far as left and right, but the fact that he read that it was going to be a hard shot on the ground, didn't jump. You see a lot of players try and pre-jump those, just try and take the right angle, but he read that in less than half a second, and that was something of beauty. But even with all that said, Space Station still find themselves in a 1-game hole. We are in a best-of-7 series, so they still have one more life to give up, essentially. You see, they don't elect to take a timeout. Don't want to use that until they're down 2 games.
Yeah, I don't really think there's a need for either team to make a timeout. I mean, this one's been pretty much straight up. You're not getting blown out of the water on any particular side of things. This is really just the give as good as you get. And unfortunately, FaZe come out the better 2 times instead of the 1 for Space Station, as the physicality, I think, also has been slightly favoring FaZe.
I agree.
Granted, I'm not sure how much that physicality has really netted strong offensive chances.
Oh, baby. Oh, what defense from Typical. Just hanging in midair, and LJ, top of the box, denied by Mist, and great defense from both sides of the pitch. We've seen a great stop from FaZe, great stop from SSG. Just all around, this has just been a great series for Rocket League in general. Just great individual plays. We've seen some passing plays, and it's just been a chess match up and down the field.
Oh, what a pass! Oh, oh, T-Shock. Why you gotta do it to him? Around Typical. Oh, how do you get the nose around the back of the ball? That's like saying, yeah, Typical, I saw what you did last game. Let me show you how to do it, but make it look really, really cool and even harder to do.
Oh, wow. Give him the style points on that one. A bicycle kick pass to get around the defense. Yeah, Typical baits out the defender, pulls him out of the box, and just dishes it to first killer.
Yeah, it's Typical. Yeah, no one cares that you made the really nice pass play. The vanilla stuff still works too. Get in front of the ball, dish it out middle. That'll beat the defender most times, and they tie it up immediately.
I love the back and forth. I love the passing plays. Seems like both teams at times are saying anything you can do, I can do better, as Typical trying to beat the entire SSG defense. Not going to do that, but Mist trying to pass that one midfield. No one there. His first killer all the way back, but right place, right time. 3v1. Daniel left alone on an island, and he pushes that one forward, and Arsenal going to keep things alive for Space Station.
Take care of this. Oh, yeah. Great bump from Mist. I mean, LJ knew that time was of the essence there, and you couldn't just afford to slam the ball upfield. His teammates weren't going to be ready, and Mist really trying to get in his face and make it as difficult as possible to maintain possession. That's really what FaZe's game is. It's make it hard for Space Station to stay on offense by any means necessary, and they're executing on that particular game plan. As Typical 1-on-2 towards the net, both people get up in his face. And Daniel will find a clear, courtesy of accidental touch, as first killer times it perfectly to go across the zone.
Oh, Arsenal, again, eating up these 50-50s. Is an awkward ball. Top of the box, Mist is going to push this one forward. Finds Typical 1-2-1 combo to get out of their own half. And first killer beat out by LJ. And here we go, Space Station numbers again.
Oh,
but Daniel just bombs that one forward, and you got to question the thought process on that one. Had 2 teammates available, only 1 defender, and just kind of pushes it right into that said defender.
Yeah, that does look to me like it's that split second where you realize you have so many options, and the one you end up picking because your primate brain says, yeah, just go straight to the defense. And you just go, geez, that was awful. Why did I do that? And you just know you mistouched the ball.
No net hit ball.
Yeah, it was literally, I have teammate here, I have teammate here. Maybe I go for the backboard and I've hit it straight at the guy. Okay, cool. So that's unlucky.
Yeah, not many opportunities like that are going to be given for FaZe Clan. While they are extremely aggressive, we rarely see them overcommit and force their teammate to be left alone back on defense. As Daniel going to push this one forward. Typical going to pass to First Killer right around Arsenal, and LJ denies one shot, but missed there for the cleanup and communication breakdown on the back line for Space Station.
Gotta wonder if Daniel even knew Mist was here, considering he didn't jump at this one. I think it surprised him. He definitely could have. Unlucky, especially after LJ did such a good job of managing the timing of his challenge to stop First Killer from dunking it straight through, but Space Station again gonna have to play from behind as that one takes an awkward bounce and makes it tough to handle for Arsenal. As FaZe one more time towards the net, big bump to make it easy for Daniel. One-on-one through the midfield line. He's past Mist. He's not quite through Typical. And FaZe's slim lead will remain.
And big bumps and demos coming from Space Station, but nothing comes from it as Arsenal gets around one, gets that flip reset as well, but couldn't put anything behind the ball with it. As First Killer is going to make Space Station again go the full length of the field, and Typical, great challenge here, but better positioning.
Yeah, it was really positioned perfectly to just pick this one off. Arsenal knew it was behind him, and I think Daniel was getting ready for an Arsenal touch. Maybe going forward, maybe he saw Typical and maybe was thinking maybe towards the corner. Either way, caught pushing forward, and the lead extends to 2. And with how much goals have come at a premium as this series is, 2 goals in a minute, as often as it's doable, it doesn't feel like Space Station have the firepower behind him to crack that FaZe defense with this much time left.
And if this scoreline holds, which hold the phone, it just might not, and it will not, because First Killer is doing First Killer things. 6th shot of the game and 2nd goal credited to First Killer.
Ooh, that's the one that finally slips around you. It was an awkward play for Arsenal to make, couldn't quite handle it. First Killer was really just wondering, do I get a look or not? And FaZe have finally entered garbage time. This one tight, you know, for 4 minutes and 4 minutes 15 seconds, and then boom, right out of contention for Space Station. 2 quick goals set them down. That means FaZe gonna be on match point. Space Station, I was thinking maybe that they would be able to finally work their way into a grand final here, but FaZe, that defense has really done such an excellent job stopping all of the pushes forward that Space Station has thrown at people. Awkward clear for them. And 0 seconds left. First Killer has not an open net because he can't actually get back down to it, but 3-1 FaZe on the road, as you said, Subi, to bookend the fall major with another grand final appearance.
Yeah, and not unfamiliar territory for Space Station, as Coach Chrome going to call a timeout for his team, talk things over. As they are down 3-1 in the series, they're going to have to pull out 3 wins consecutively. Tough task against FaZe Clan. But they did find themselves in a Game 5 when they played earlier this weekend against FaZe Clan. They were able to get that match win on Champions Field. But the big question is, can they get to said Champions Field?
And I think for me, it's all about moving the ball around, because it does feel, I think for both teams, you know, very one-dimensional. It's like, okay, we're all so ready to try and start the counterattack quick. We want to push up fast. We want to go hard. And that kind of, I think, has led to a little bit of a lazy clear game for both teams, where it's just like, okay, smash and go. And FaZe are just able to be a little bit more consistent on their approaches than Space Station have been. And that's kind of led to these general slim margins of victory, where the obvious exception being that previous game where it just slipped out of hand late. But in general, it's just FaZe executing at, you know, it's not much better. It's like maybe 10 to 15% better. And that's really where Space Station's struggling in terms of just moving the ball around the pitch, finding each other. Not even necessarily needing more physicality. I mean, the defense has been okay. It's really just been, how do you want to move the ball down the pitch?
And for Space Station, in this series, only 3 goals so far. And when you look over at FaZe Clan, 7. And obviously, that was a big one in game number 4. 4 in that one. But for Space Station Gaming, they've got to do something to be able to open up their offense, because we saw that brilliant passing play from Arsenal. But you're not going to always be able to rely on those highly mechanical plays to kind of break down the defense of FaZe Clan. You've also got to, like you said, have the vanilla offense. Go with just a traditional infield pass. Go with traditional passing plays out of the corner. Keep things simple, but also, you got to keep them interesting. And we know they can do the interesting. It's Space Station Gaming. Well, let's see the simpleness come out of this kickoff as we get into game number 5.
And if they want to go for a little bit more of a simpler approach, I mean, they're going to have to start taking a little bit more time as they push the ball up the pitch.
Yes.
You can't just go with the rip it downfield or try and force every single air dribble. You're going to have to bring it down onto the floor, go for a dribble in the middle of the pitch, see if you can find a way through that first challenge and go from there. But nobody jumps, and Typical is just like, I guess it's free.
I mean, this is just bot play right here from Space Station. Oh, I didn't see that. I take back my comment. No one jumped because nobody could jump. When you get the self bumps, it's gonna harm you, as Space Station Gaming find themselves down early here in a very important match. FaZe Clan sitting pretty. Another grand finals on the horizon.
Tough one to allow at the start of match point. Daniel obviously not jumping because his teammates say they have it. And they just throw off each other's approach with, I think it was Arsenal landing on LJ. Could have been the other way around. I'm not certain. Regardless.
Oh, you're kidding.
Gives you the handicap the wrong way, as Mist really trying to put a pretty one towards net, but
wow.
Too much defense lined up against it for that to work.
Well, then here comes Arsenal, and follow-up just a little too slow for Space Station, playing very spread out. Too much respect shown to FaZe Clan, and I don't blame them. They've got some incredible players on that side of the pitch, but when you're down 1 this early, you got to think, when are you going to start to get aggressive?
Like, I don't understand why LJ, like, he trapped the ball and started a dribble, and then just instantly power flicked the ball away downfield and just punted away possession. It's like, the guy was facing backwards. If he was going to turn on you, you would have had the time, and that's really what I'm talking about, where Space Station need to take that extra second, figure out how they want to move the ball up the field, because they're just throwing the ball right back to FaZe, and it's allowing them to push the ball right back with sometimes even more danger.
I agree. They've got to have better field awareness as Arsenal tries to bait out Mist. Not going to happen. And Achieves likes what he sees. It just boils down to trying to pull out defenders, not just always hit that ball with full force.
It's like the idea is sound. Yeah, like Arsenal lost the ball, but at the same time, it's not like he allowed this dangerous counterattack. It forced Mist to put the ball straight off his own sidewall, and Space Station had time to get ready. So at least you're throwing some type of different look at FaZe and making them do something else, because this whole punt the ball upfield, like, why are we hitting this? Where are you going to go with it now? Sure, you hit a flip reset, but look, there's 3 people in the net. Like, what's going to happen? Nothing.
Well, you've earned no respect, right? So FaZe Clan aren't going to pull out a net, and I love that play, but who is it? None other than Mist on the goal line. He has just been the backbone of defense for FaZe Clan. And 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go here in game number 5. And FaZe Clan in the driver's seat right now. LJ lets that one get away from him, and it's the initial touches, that we've seen from LJ that have really just hurt Space Station a ton. As first killer puts out no one going.
Oh, he got
it again. Almost had a miscommunication breakdown.
Very fortunate he did not get demoed right there. FaZe instead bumping LJ into the perfect spot to find the clear, keeping the lead at 1. Daniel, no support behind him in the midfield. Arsenal concedes the midfield boost because they need the structure. They know they can't afford to concede 2. So as the time ticks further and further down, you either get more risk averse until you hit about 30 seconds or so, and then you go with reckless abandon, or do you do it right now and just see what happens?
Well, you gotta defend first, and 2 pull out from Space Station Gaming. His first killer rotates right back in to keep the pressure up for FaZe Clan. And if you're asking me, Achieves, I say go with full reckless abandon. Throw everything that you
Here's
can
what
at
Space Station
Clan.
does best.
I agree. I mean, when it's chaos, normally you see Space Station on the winning side of things.
Oh, he missed! LJ, he was in a good position playing support, but he didn't get a handle on the ball, and first killer nails the counterattack.
Oh, when I saw him get this ball on his hood, I knew it was game over, and typical running point doesn't even matter. And Arsenal might even give him a little hand with the bump underneath, but either way, first killer dismantling the Space Station defense, and Space Station have to pull out all stops here.
So you can't even really be too mad at Space Station. The idea is obviously to have Arsenal, go for a dribble in the corner, see what they can make happen. LJ is happy to play tight support, but when you play tight support and you miss, that's the type of counterattack you allow. The 2-on-1, the 1-on-1, with some type of air dribble coming your way, it's not easy to defend, and Space Station crack under the pressure and very likely find themselves another Exeter in the semifinals. Unless this one finds the back of the net. Of course not. Who else? Nick Costello's there once again. Why did we get him? FaZe needed a little defense, and he will keep him with a clean sheet here to close it out, as first killer will put an exclamation point on game 5.
First killer and Typical, yet again, working in tandem to push their team onward to the grand finals. And Gen.G has been waiting patiently. And again, semifinals. We expected a couple game 7s. This is the only one to get us out of game 4. And FaZe Clan and Gen.G have a date with destiny. Gen.G gonna be looking to get some retribution.
Super clean show from FaZe. It's not like they had to pull out all the stops to break down the Space Station defense. It was really just, let's keep going at it, see what we can get. In general, had more opportunities. Roldiz and co. find themselves with another grand finals appearance all the way back to the Fall Open, where they defeated Gen.G in, what was it? I think also 5 games, if memory serves.
Well, don't let memory serve, because I'll just look it up, and it was 5 games.
Oh, good.
Look at you. Good job. As
job,
we
Brain.
get a look at the replays, and it's going to be FaZe Clan heavy, as it was a 3-0 stomping in game number 5. And you can tell just the way first killer, had that little smirk on his face. All confidence going into these grand finals.
You'd hope so. They definitely deserve to have the confidence. It was a calm, cool, collected show against a team that can bring a lot of fire in Space Station, so they got to be feeling good about their chances, knowing that they've already beat Gen.G before. And so when we come back, we'll have our final match of the fall split. Before the major, it'll be Gen.G and FaZe Clan. Stick around. Did he pull a leaf?
I did!
Oh no!
Stop about it. I was saying the most beautiful things you've ever heard, chat, but I muted myself on my own end.
It was
about time. It was about time. It was very good. But you know, I mean, hey, FaZe, they muted Space Station pretty fast there, Gibbs?
They did, and I think Achieves, I think he's what said. It's just clean. It was a clean series by FaZe. They didn't have to do too much, but their defense held up so well throughout that series. Space Station only put in 3 goals throughout that series. So FaZe just doing what needed to get done to make it to another final. On the other side, Space Station now, that's 3 third and fourths in a row. Looks like they've inherited the FaZe curse. That's not where they want to be, but hey, they're going to Rotterdam, being a very consistent team, and we'll see if they can do some damage when they get there.
And it felt overall, there were a couple of nice pushes from Space Station downfield, but generally across the board, they felt a little bit lazy, didn't really place the ball away from defenders, and FaZe really just got to rotate deep back, camp it out, say, yeah, bring us the ball, and then start really strong counterattacks, or we're able to continue with long, sustained amounts of pressure. And that is kind of what I think led FaZe to the pretty solid win over here. It's not like they massively overperformed and dunked Space Station. Like I said, it was just like the 10 to 15% better. That led to a fairly convincing win.
Overall, FaZe going to be the more dominant team, 4-1, and advance to the grand finals for a rematch of the first event of our split, Gen.G going up against FaZe. Last time we had these teams being in the grand finals, FaZe was able to get the upset. Gen.G, they've been here every single time, Gibbs. Is this finally the one to rule them all?
It's not only a rematch from the first tournament in the finals, they played last tournament as well in the quarterfinals, and Gen.G won that game 7. So 1-1. We'll see what happens here, but Gen.G has that finals curse on them. FaZe Clan looking to take over the #1 overall seed. So this is for the #1 North American seed. We talked about how important that is. Your first round matchup will be OC #2 rather than a European team or the Falcons. So I think both teams would rather that. So absolutely huge. And of course, $10,000 on the line. So both teams are coming in hungry for this one. But we see Gen.G, #1 offense throughout this tournament. We normally talk about FaZe in that situation. They're top 3. But FaZe on the flip side, #1 defense right now. And we saw that when they just played Space Station as well, only giving up 3 goals. So we saw Gen.G earlier, and they looked perfect. They looked like they destroyed G2. But FaZe, when they played defense, looked pretty much like on par with what the offense of Gen.G was doing. So it really just comes down to which one is halted here? Like, is the defense going to show up or is the offense?
The unstoppable force, removable wall thing.
Yeah. Exactly. It's so incredibly tough here.
You've talked before about FaZe's ceiling though being just impossibly high here, Gibbs, and they feel like they're increasing in altitude as this tournament is going on right now. They've been in this situation before. They've beaten Gen.G when Gen.G looked unstoppable before. Is this the same story? Are we signed up for second episode?
So it's tough because I think a lot of people that came into this invitational power ranking wise would still have FaZe above them just because FaZe's record was so good. They would normally go through Swiss and go 3-0. They had one quarterfinals loss, game 7, not like obviously. So it wasn't that bad of a loss. So FaZe coming in with the best record in NA, but Gen.G has the most points because they show up on bracket days until the finals. It's really a coin flip here. I think like I would have been more on the side of FaZe if I didn't watch those two matches, but we saw Gen.G just dismantle G2 like no one else ever has in the history. They've never been swept G2 with Atomic, and Gen.G did it comfortably. So it's anyone's game.
Well, chat, how do you feel about it? Let's get your votes on so we can get things started in the Verizon fan vote. Hashtag FaZe, hashtag GGM1. Achieves, do the honors. Who's winning?
So I had Gen.G winning this tournament. If you remember back to Saturday's pre-show, I'm sticking with it. They looked icy. I think I've been on the desk for every grand final in North America, and I think I've picked Gen.G all 3 times. So I have to be right one time. If anything,
not how the math works.
Gen.G has shown that they adapt. They lost against version 1 last grand final, smashed them, man. They're gonna learn what they wanted to against FaZe here. I think they get it done. I don't know in how many games, but it's gotta happen.
Last time we were on this desk, we all went Gen.G, and there was 4 of us then too. So it was Gen.G across the board because they looked so good on the day to play against V1, and then V1 came out on top. There is some type of hurdle here, and I don't think it's their fault. I think FaZe is on par with them. It's a coin flip, but I think FaZe is the #1 team in North America, and I think they deserve that #1 seed going into Rotterdam. So I will pick FaZe in a very close set.
Whoa! I feel like this is you're flipping on what you're just saying.
It's close. It's close either way, but you know, like I always back FaZe, so I'll continue to do so. Why not?
Okay, well, at least this way, one of us will be right, because I don't think Achieves' math that just picking Gen.G you will eventually be correct. I've done a lot of picking Torrent, and did not ever work out in my favor.
They're not even here, Wave. Ouch.
They are not here in any way, shape, or form. Big F's in chat there, folks. I'm also gonna go with FaZe on this one. I think that A, we did put this in our bracket. B, Gen.G.
Oh, you slave to your bracket. I'm a slave to mine, but at least
you're a slave to your bracket.
But I think for the same reasons that we picked them to win in the finals, I think back on yesterday, I think it would still apply here. How did chat feel about this one? Right now, Gen.G building fans left and right. Clear fan favorite in chat. Let's get down to the Verizon Skybox. The grand finals of the Fall Invitational. FaZe Clan trying to knock Gen.G out in the grand final situation for the 2nd time in a row. Can Gen.G get revenge? We'll find out.
We're flying again, and we are ready to go for the 3rd and final time this split turtle.
Here we go.
Invitational grand finals, and for the 2nd time, Gen.G versus FaZe. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. I am ready. The top dogs in North America clashing once again. They previously met in the semifinals. It went in favor of Gen.G, but then before that, it was the grand finals of the first regional. FaZe Clan took that. This will be the series that gives one team the lead, the edge, and their record against each other. And I am all here for it. If you were watching the semifinals before this series, of course, you know how dominant both teams looked in their matchup. Gen.G, I'd say, looked a little bit superior just because of the sweep and how incredible they were against G2. I mean, of course, FaZe Clan were immaculate in their series alone, but for me personally, there was more of a fight from Space Station Gaming. Meanwhile, Gen.G, that's why they have that edge in the fan vote, in my opinion, just because of how great they look.
Gen.G, FaZe are probably the only other team that I think could contend with them in terms of their team synergy. Like, the way Gen.G move around the pitch is as if they're a hive. FaZe, they've been close to that. They've had that type of performance before, but I've seen it from Gen.G more than any other team. And Chronic, the big kid, the big pickup, gets the big goal to start it off.
Yep, and this is the guy that we're always highlighting, the new pickup for this team. Not too much hype around him before this split, but now he comes out on the roster and is making waves, and of course he's going to make the first goal in favor of Gen.G.
How's it got to feel for Chronic? You make, in your first, you get on Gen.G.
Ooh.
No, wait on a second. First killer. Pulls Gen.G out of the way. FaZe execute the kickoff perfectly here on the 50.
Oh my goodness, you're talking about working like a hive mind, and this is essentially what FaZe Clan just did. All three players were participating in that goal. We had one going for a bump, which I believe was missed. Then Typical getting the 50-50 challenge. And First Killer just comes in, and that ball is glued on top of his car. Nice little dribble in, and an early response from FaZe.
FaZe absolutely capable of turning it on and
Yeah, 100%.
having their own hive. This First Killer going to go out wide on the wing here, but
And
turns it wide for Gen.G. Yeah.
I don't know, Joby. For FaZe Clan, like, with how well Typical has been playing in this regional, that has been the biggest factor and standout performance out of, I'd say, all 6 players. I think you could talk a lot about Chronic, but Typical, I've always had my questions around him. But he has shown up and has done so much to impact and influence this team, especially when they get moving on offense, whether it's with bumps, demos, or winning challenges like we saw him do against Space Station.
I mean, all three of FaZe, Typical second on the team in assists per game. He's 4th in the league. First Killer, by the way, at first at 0.85 assists per game. But Typical and Mist hit at 4 and 5. So all three of FaZe's players are sitting in top 5 in assists per game. That shows you how good they are. But guess who else really work well as a team? Gen.G starts off with a good 50. Chronic left for the 50. That's not even intentional. I don't even know if that's intentional. Like, he goes up as if he's gonna block the sidewall challenge. But Nolly takes the 50. Chronic's already left the wall, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, it's a perfect pop. Thanks, Nolly. And then Jack comes in, and it's a 3-point passing play. But why is that a 3-point passing play?
Listen, Jorby, sometimes you gotta roll the dice, and in that situation, Gen.G come out favorable. And Jack even jumped up early to go for that challenge too, but then backflip to get back in position. So they're being aggressive. It's working out. They'll take it.
Oh.
And of course, the second goal, solid play from Gen.G. FaZe Clan are looking to get an early response, similar to how they got their first one.
Missed it, hit the post. FaZe will have to get set up.
Oh my, why? It's wide open.
Caught in the gap.
What's going on?
Typical was thinking he was going to get a pass from First Killer. This drops down.
Yep.
You see Typical, he's looking at Nolly. He sees Mist drop it. And as soon as he sees First Killer, it's a little deceptive for Typical. The ball kind of looks initially as it drops that First Killer's turning in on it. But then the ball bounces towards him. And as he turns around, he realizes, oh no, First Killer's not as near to that ball as I thought he was. And they get punished. Maybe they get here on the kickoff. Chronic extends the lead, makes it 4.
FaZe Clan put in very, very sticky situations, not only off this kickoff, but the previous goal, First Killer and Typical out of position, disorientated, and now that's going to extend the lead even more for Gen.G. Truthfully, whenever we came in, I mean, we got a good response from FaZe Clan, but then somehow this game has just spiraled out of control for Gen.G.
Gen.G, in the last finals that they played, they did, oh, look at this from Nolly. He wanted the bump too. But their last finals, they would go through, stomp through quarterfinals, semifinals, and then get to grands, and then you wouldn't see the same team. This is game 1. Gen.G really want to prove something to people today.
Yeah, I mean,
it's 3 grand final appearances. Everyone wants to see if they can win one of them. Game 1 looked like they won it.
Third time's the charm. These guys certainly
Jack.
have the experience. Jack is just going to take 2 players with Chronic. Chronic didn't want to take advantage of the spacer. He might have actually made a mistake. He didn't have any boost, but I still think he could have put one on target. Here's another one that's on target from him. He's going to look for a demo himself. Opportunities coming left and right for Gen.G. FaZe Clan unable to respond. And good speed from Chronic. Maybe he's going to get a double tap. Goes straight down, and Chronic still has more boost to work with. Almost a flip reset, and they are just barraging this goal with several shots.
This is getting sloppy, but they're making it work. Gen.G, ball stolen away from him. Here comes First Killer trying to push the last man out of the net. Typical slows it down. Chronic on the turnaround. Apparently Jack taking out Mist in the midfield. Now Nolly sends it right back to him. Redirect off the post, goal!
Everybody from FaZe Clan flat-footed One demo came through from apparently Jack, and he's also in position to receive the clear. The shot wasn't on target, but the response and recovery from Nolly was beautiful. Best position he could ask for. 5-1. Say that this is dominant, I think it's a little bit of an understatement. Gen.G just continue their tear from the semifinals.
Well, thanks for showing up, FaZe. Game 1.
There's no way they do
about all I
this
can
to
say.
FaZe. There's no way that they obliterate G2. They come out in the grand finals and the same thing happens to FaZe. I refuse to believe it, Jordan. This is just game 1, okay?
It is only.
We're getting ahead of
What
ourselves.
is that touch from first killer? He put that just on the side. Gen.G's nose. That one really was going to be in. You're almost talking about Gen.G getting to Brazil. Chronic's going to get another goal. It's set up right here, 6-1. Oh my God, a hat trick for Chronic. 2 goals for Nolly, 1 for apparently Jack. Everybody's eating.
And they're getting so physical. I didn't expect the demos to come out. I mean, certainly we've seen Gen.G be aggressive and go for demos in all of their series throughout this tournament alone, this regional alone. But I didn't expect it to be as dominant and at the forefront of their offense. But it has worked. It's been efficient. Another one, the Brazil guaranteed. I know Chad's going to be loving this one. The Brazil popping off for Gen.G. Dorby, what is going on for FaZe Clan?
Dude, Nolly got such a quick reset. First killer comes across. Mist is actually trying to cover the air dribble bump, but he's too far behind the play. And it's just all, it all broke down for FaZe a million minutes ago. And they just got to reset into game 2. As soon as that, really since that 4th goal went in, Gen.G on a rampage.
Yeah.
They have not stopped since the semifinals. They took a short break during FaZe Space Station, but now they're hard-working men here in game 1.
It just seems like they have cracked the code and understand exactly how to make FaZe Clan panic and get in these very uncomfortable, tight situations. Not only are they controlling the boost effortlessly, but these demos, I can't tell you, Dorby, how impactful they have been. They've been bumping, getting in the way of them, winning the challenges. It felt like every single goal for Gen.G was off of some kind of physical play, besides this goofy one where all 3 players were also up, and Jack even was going for that shot. He backflipped before. It's just been ridiculous.
That play right there just
everybody.
makes absolutely no sense to me. They all 3 want to go for the same ball, even though Nolly's there going for the 50, but they're all like, okay, I'm gonna jump. And then Chronic's like, oh, cool, I'm in the air and the ball's right in front of me. Let me just take this. And Jack is like, cool, I've recovered. Now I'm gonna, calculated, 100%.
Calculated, Jorby.
When those kind of plays go in for you, Turtle, you just can't do anything wrong.
Maybe the pressure of getting #1 seed is on this grand finals. This is a very important matchup. Yes, they're going to be playing in Rotterdam. You guaranteed a major spot, but you want to set yourself up for success at that major, and this win is going to do just that, playing against the 2nd seed from OCE versus, potentially Falcons or another European team. So a lot on the line for FaZe Clan Gen.G. And of course, you want to see some type of response from FaZe Clan.
See how FaZe can respond. The best part about getting scored on 7 times in one game is Gen.G only get 1 win out of it.
Yep.
Now they can reset Mist. See if FaZe can get set up. They got outpositioned. Really just outplayed in general. Now they drop it down. Typical.
Oh my.
Little
What's
dolphin
going on?
dive and try to make it work. Saw first killer try to force the issue. Missed. Will keep it going in front. Typical no boost, but pops it up nicely. And Chronic's called off by apparently Jack, who saw first killer coming in. That gets a big clear out for Gen.G.
Good possession, though. Back pass from first killer all the way to typical, which leads into more pressure. And Nolly's going to miss off the backboard. Uncharacteristic from him. A good infield pass. Abjack expected Mist to turn on it and go for the shot, which is why he flipped so early. No shot came through.
Whoa.
As a result, we've got still 0-0, but a lot of FaZe Clan pressure.
You even saw from Nolly, he kind of saved first killer's attempted possession closer to the blue corner, where he doesn't go for the ball or the read. He knows how Jack wants to get there. So he just plants his car right under him when he lands. And that, or not Jack, excuse me, first killer. And that killed FaZe's earlier possessions. But they've done a good job hanging onto the ball and forcing it back over to the blue corner. First killer with no boost, preventing Chronic from getting back. And now he's got to pass the typical. Sees first killer on the wing. Can't do much about it. Mist is also going to hang back here, seeing the midfield possession, losing control to Gen.G. The first killer. Big boom over to Typical. Turns on ball cam to get the read, just to make sure he could push it forward, but he ran out of boost and couldn't do much afterwards.
Regardless of the fact that FaZe Clan are yet to score, you can tell they have adapted and changed things up. Much cleaner rotations, very tight whenever they push forward. They're shadowing each other well, and it also reminds me of what Roldiz, the coach, got to mention in his interview yesterday, Jorby, where he said that FaZe Clan, a lot of times they'll come out in game 1, have a rough start. That's what happened against Team Axel. But in game 2, they were able to be more confident, get aggressive, and match the pace. It seems like they're doing that in game 2 against Gen.G.
Jack in his post-game interview said he felt like FaZe were going to win this series, or their series against Space Station, but that he felt more confident against them after their last series in the quarterfinals in the Fall Cup, where they fell in 7 games. So far, FaZe, like you said, they've adapted, and you've seen that adjustment. We've seen them leave challenges on the table and get a couple of transitions. First killer leaves it down, typical, it's too light, and FaZe forced to hang on to midfield. Start with first killer, great pass over to Miss. Typical went the whole way back for boost, so it's up to first killer to set it up. And now Typical comes from the midfield line. Excellent control there from Nolly to get it back to Jack. Gen.G surviving, but can't break through the midfield.
FaZe Clan putting on a lot of shots, a fury of shots. So far, 7 to their name compared to Gen.G's 1 shot, but 1 demo from Abject could change things, and you can tell the momentum has shifted quite a bit. But as soon as I say that, it's bolted all the way down to the other side. FaZe Clan, a lot of illusions thrown at the defense of Gen.G. Wow. A couple of fakes. Miss going for backboard, double taps himself. And this ball is a high floater for the net of FaZe Clan, and Miss, the Guardian Angel, is there to get the touch.
Truly sitting on the option coverage underneath to defend that double. Now it's popped up in front. It's a little awkward for Miss. He gets chipped, but the ball hits the post. First killer carry gets dunked off the backboard. All of FaZe are kind of hurrying back. They're all on low boost. They're looking for small pads. Miss finally gets his corner, and he has to defend the shot. He's got it. First killer racing towards him. Can't get the ball away from Chronic. Now apparently Jack flying to the sky. Off the ceiling. Shot. Oh, it's a little wide, and maybe intended by Chronic, but it's going to be taken back. Nobody was available for the follow-up. It's got to be Chronic to force the ball back into the corner. Final minute, still scoreless. Gen.G finally has some pressure, but Typical relieves it with a big 50.
That's huge for FaZe Clan. Dealt with the most pressure all game long, but an early shot, maybe a follow-up denied by the defense of FaZe Clan. Gen.G, they have found their stride, working like a well-oiled machine on offense, but they've only got about 33 seconds until this ball drops into OT.
Jack avoids the bump, gets it over to Nolly, who finds Chronic downfield to commit. But Nolly will recover quickly. First killer secures the boost. The pass is only missed. He sees first killer. He's gonna take the go-ahead. He gets the chip on Jack, but Chronic covers him. Chronic gonna steal that midfield boost. Nolly gonna look for him downfield. He connects. First touch. Falls down. Jack's in the air. It's light. Gonna be taken away by FaZe. The end of regulation. Here comes Gen.G off the board. Chronic denied. In front of the box. Jack's too late. Missed
There's
only
so
8
much
boost.
space.
Goes
There's
for the
so
big
much
clear.
space,
Does he
Jorby.
keep it in the air? Can he find first killer? Nolly kills it. We're in overtime, Turtle.
Everybody from Gen.G pushed up and extended in that final attempt on net. And FaZe Clan were not able to punish, even with all that space. Maybe they'll be able to punish here. No, denied by Chronic. Typical. Thought he could get a better 50-50. He doesn't. And we're back to a midfield battle. Unless Abject gets over one, he does off the crossbar and down. It's not enough.
Game 2 feels like the series I thought I was walking into.
This is what we expected, Jorby.
Apparently Jack gonna flick it over one. Missed. Loses the 50 to Chronic. Punches it in reverse, and FaZe may turn their fortunes here. Oh, everyone a little farther off the rotation. Apparently Jack next up. Nolly with no boost on his side. Chronic gonna follow this next touch up. Gets the touch underneath, but saved by first killer. Chronic trying to keep the pressure up. Nolly coming in to support, and it's gonna be a close ball, and apparently Jack has to protect the midfield. Typical's making life difficult for Gen.G as he pushes the ball forward. Another 50 for Sip. Chronic, a lot of boost, but he's got to protect the ball, and missed. Grabbed it. He's got it. Gen.G looks solid right now on defense. He's get the ball away from first killer. Killer across, and a big touch will stop Gen.G on defense.
Oh, but there's all this space, and Nolly's going to go for a bump. He finds it. First killer's going to get a demo himself, and now this has quickly transitioned down the other side. One team can't hold on to possession for too long. If you overextend, that could be the death of you in this OT. You were talking about Typical being annoying and being a nuisance. For me, it's been first killer. He's been taking so many midfield boosts on the side of FaZe Clan, and that's weakened a lot of these counterattacks from Gen.G.
Great cash from Typical on the back wall. It froze Gen.G on the line. They couldn't go for a challenge. They had to wait. Now FaZe are back on offense. Hot shot from first killer, not going to do much for FaZe there. Apparently Jack on the transition, forces missed up. free ball on the backboard. Jack deletes
Go,
one.
Nolly, here we
Nolly
go.
has a free shot. He takes the pass. Missed from Jack. Chronic in the air. Ooh, off the
it.
post. It's open.
That's it.
Goal! Gen.G take 2.
Ring around the rosy here in the box of FaZe Clan. From the right side to the left side, and finally Nolly can smack it down the middle. All throughout FaZe Clan's defense, threading the needle. The precision comes through, and we get the game-winning shot. We were scoreless for so long, and Gen.G can break the drought.
Just enough 50s, enough challenges to break them down.
Wow.
Jack diving in for that demo.
Yeah.
FaZe have called a timeout, and Roll Diz is gonna have to speak to the boys because right now they made a good adjustment. They didn't get scored on 6 more times in that game, but they couldn't get the offense going. I know this sounds ridiculous, Turtle, but 9 shots for FaZe. I feel like I don't remember most of those. There was a couple of them that were quality, but the rest of them, Gen.G really commanded the game on offense.
Yeah, well, we didn't get the usual flair from FaZe Clan that we see in almost every single series. I mean, these guys are a powerhouse when it comes to the mechanics, especially First Killer. So I think there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to step up, because I've seen a lot of moments where typically he would come out with a goal to his name where he's got a dribble, where he's got a nice flick by himself. You've got Typical being a nuisance, and Mist, of course, holding it down as the third man. They were connecting whenever it came to the transition, so I don't have any critiques or any issues with how they were transitioning on offense. But for me, I'm looking at the shots and what we're getting out of First Killer particularly. He's got to take initiative on offense, because if you're not, executing well, Jorby, it doesn't matter if you can transition. Eventually, Gen.G will find a way to slip through.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with Gen.G, right? So all weekend, I feel like, or really the last 2 weeks, talking about Gen.G's immaculate defense. I can hear Achieves in my head, because that's the one thing that he's been most. He's so smart. It's the one thing he's been most impressed with Gen.G, and so like a lot of on these pushes, I do feel like First Killer is doing things to create plays with his mechanics, with his smarts. We've seen FaZe try to draw up those plays with the with the layoffs.
Right here,
and
what's
things like that.
happening?
They are trying.
But in that situation, the first replay we see is Typical and First Killer. It's almost a 2v2 situation, potentially a 2v1 situation. First Killer is kind of flat-footed. He's not moving up forward. He's not shadowing closely. I think that his positioning in relation to his teammates has been somewhat off in this series, and that's a very quick and easy adjustment. If he gets a little bit more aggressive, I think that could be the difference maker. And after the timeout, things could change moving on in the series, and they're going to have to change for FaZe Clan.
FaZe, if you remember in their in their match against Axel in the quarterfinals, game 1 shocked them when Axel took the game, but then it was just one adjustment for FaZe, and they were able to get it done. They made an adjustment last game, but they couldn't get any goals in the net, so they're gonna need a couple of more here against Gen.G. FaZe, one of the best teams at adapting mid-series. They can absolutely do it, but Gen.G, a tough cookie to crack, no doubt.
Yeah, and they're not going to come up with a lot of mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, the issue is forced, and a mistake comes out on the side of FaZe Clan.
Oh, he gets bumped.
Opportunity created by Nolly, and apparently there was a bump on the field. Where was it, Jordan? I didn't see it.
Nolly bumps Typical, because I'm thinking, okay, why is it missed positions forced Typical's challenge, and he's wondering, wait, why does Nolly just get a free touch on the ball in the corner? It's because Nolly chipped Typical, got him off the ball, and Typical gets revenge. Goal right on the kickoff.
Reminiscent of game 1. Similar ways this has developed in front of us. Gen.G get the first goal, but FaZe Clan are able to respond quickly. Now the goal is to make sure this doesn't get out of control and turn into a Brazil. FaZe Clan. Nice
that's the Brazil setup? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's what it feels like, bro. We got baited in game 1. I don't want to see that happen again.
Fair enough. Here comes Nolly. Wanted to set it up, but Jack, there was no way he could commit to that play. No opening. He'll file in behind Chronic. FaZe. Seen them put on a flurry. Okay, never mind.
That's just ridiculous from Nolly. I don't even know why he's going up for that, but it works out. I'm not going to question it. He does get a
just
demo
go for the
too.
dunk. You don't get it, Chronic's there, no problem.
Oh, look at the space too, Nolly. Oh man, Nolly was playing out of his mind in the
Did you see no fear there from Mist too? He saw Jack barreling towards him to bump him, and Mist just didn't deviate from his path. Nothing happened on that play, but that's the kind of thing that kind of trips you up against Gen.G, right? Mist trying not to blink, but it's hard to blink when you're dead. Apparently Jack takes 2 of them out. And Chronic gonna take it himself. Oh, what a save on the inside. First killer pinches it. And he said, no dice this time, Gen.G.
He flies across the goal line. It was falling in. You could see that ball crossing the goal line, halfway through and out. First killer, keeping things tied up, and now maybe a transition. This pass into the midfield, but Mist is taken out. Abject making sure to have an impact, even if he's rotating back, and then on offense, he's hitting him with counterattack shots.
Big clear for first killer, Mist downfield. He gets chipped by Nolly. Chronic gonna follow in behind him. Abject already downfield. He's able to receive it. Looking good for Gen.G. Oh, Nolly gets it away from first killer, who tried to play him on the 50. Just gonna wait as he sees the, or excuse me, first killer waiting as he sees the boomer downfield. Jack forcing him to contest high. Oh wow, 2 quick transitions, but nothing on top of it. Jack waiting downfield underneath, made it awkward. Typical made it work. Nolly gets back. Does he get the 50? Doesn't get around 2. Mist just gets around him. But it's Nolly who gets the boost. First killer gets the clear, but that's just Gen.G reloading. Jack sends a long one, and first killer, I guess he's also got a cannon. Nolly sends it back. I don't know what's gonna happen on these transitions. The ball's flying, it's supersonic.
Yeah, but that's important from Nolly to get up there, even if he's on his own half, just to get in the face of the striker from FaZe Clan. Makes it that much more difficult to find an angle. Abject is going to get this clear down the other side, and I've noticed a lot of space in this midfield. It's up for grabs right now. I haven't seen one team be dominant with possession. A back and forth game, which I think is more along the lines of what we expected given the results coming into this grand final. Typical, nice touch off the backboard. We'll see if that midfield space is something about it. Feels like there's going to be an early shot, an eager transition all the way from the midfield that might slip in if that rotation is caught off.
Jack recognizing first killer cutting in, and he just takes him out of the play. That has to be so annoying if you're FaZe. You feel like you're finally getting something set up. You're finally weaving around Gen.G, and then here comes a full-bodied Fennec to just take you out of the stadium. And here comes another one. Nolly takes out another. Chronic says, here you go, Jack. Oh, he gets bodied off the play. First killer, it looked like he was the one to get there. Now Jack has to race back, collects the midfield boost. Nolly sitting back, has to wait for Typical, but he's lost the touch, and Jack has a full tank to receive it. He wants the reset, he's got it, but can't get it on target. Taken away. Nolly gonna play a deep third on this. Now he's finally gonna come in as FaZe try to slow down. Gen.G just will not give FaZe the space. They're willing to protect that clear, but as soon as FaZe, well, hang on, as soon as Gen.G get this ball in front of the box, Jack is happy to wait. Typical, using a lot of boost to stay near that. And he gets the 50, no, but Nolly gets back. Nolly's playing, he's playing optimism there. And he still gets back to get that 50, forces Mist to get the air dribble turn.
Well, it's the trust that Gen.G have in their teammates. They're oftentimes just given so many opportunities because they're optimistically positioning themselves. And here's another example. Abject believes in Nolly and his ability to get past 2 players. It's wide open from the midfield. That space catches FaZe all over the place. And Gen.G can take the lead, and they will.
Look, I don't know what Jack put in his water, but all I'm gonna say is Hydro homies winning big today.
Hydrate up.
Jack, wait a minute, it's not over! First killer ties the series game!
Ask and you shall receive. I wanted to see First Killer step up in this game. I thought they needed it, and certainly they do. Ties it up 2-2, the backboard read. A nice little double tap, and they tie things up in style. That's the way to do it.
In the game. FaZe are very much still down by 2 in the series. Chronic. Not gonna get much going there in Gen.G. Gonna get deleted. Apparently Jack tasted his own medicine. Then FaZe don't do anything with the ball. Jack just gets the touch. Another big clear. FaZe are gonna get a free look, past a miss. Nothing underneath. First killer, hard shot, but wide, and Chronic's there anyway. And another overtime. Both teams turtle. Excellent in overtime this season. 70% win percentage for FaZe, 66% win percentage for Gen.G.
Oh my, off the backboard. Okay. I'm a little bit scared, Joby. These goals have been so good, they make me forget about the series score. That's how good they are. Ridiculous stuff.
You and me both.
Here we go from the corner. I believe in Mist right now with these third man rotations. He's been solid, unshakable. But with those demos, Joby, you never know what can happen. Gen.G have been so physical in the grand finals.
Oh, first killer. Was expecting a touch from Jack. Jack had left it. All of Gen.G, they need to refuel. Chronic gets the back corner. Jack had gotten the midfield. Now he gets the ball. No, he missed it, but a big save. Nolly dives into the ground. Chronic, he faked it and throws FaZe in the midfield, allowed Gen.G to get a clear, but now they're on small pad duty. Wait for Burst Killer. Oh, save from Chronic in their tensest moments. Chronic, a pass over to Nolly. The 50 taken away. Gen.G, just when you think you've got them on ice, they find a way to melt it.
I do love that idea from FaZe Clan. Given how much space there is in the midfield and how fast these teams are rotating back to their own net, if you utilize the ceiling and pass it right back to yourself in the midfield space, farther away from the goalkeeper, could set up a better opportunity. Here's Burst Killer looking for a better opportunity himself, and it's all by himself, rather. Winning 50-50 is going forward, but I guess it's not enough against Abjack.
Abjack hit that right on the corner of his Fennec. Now Chronic having to defend against Burst Killer. Nolly helps out. Burst Killer drills it front. Jack jumped for it. The man has got a crystal ball. He knew exactly where it was going. He knew exactly when to jump. Gen.G, they ain't building bricks. They're building a dam. They can't get through them. FaZe, here's from Mist, and Nolly's there. Or apparently Jack gets the ball back downfield. About 2 minutes of overtime done. And does anything develop here for Gen.G? Burst Killer wants a way out. Off the ceiling, the reset back over to Typical, who's gonna stay on the back wall. Maybe it dies here for FaZe.
Best few looks for FaZe Clan within the last 30 seconds. It's so difficult because you're up against a team that seems to be able to read the future. A nice pre-save or pre-jump save from Abjack, but the demo is going to open up even more, and Abjack is alone in the net. He's not going to get the save because it's just off the crossbar. No accuracy for FaZe.
This man is liquid. You can't hold him down. Up high, Nolly. Pass in front. Chronic misses contact. It was a hard pass. Jack protecting now the back line as the rest of Gen.G have to retreat. They got the midfield line, all the small pads. Typical, though, he gets the catch. He gets it over Chronic, and this is going to force Jack back. We'll see if FaZe can get set up.
It's so important how you transition out and carry this ball from your own end. A clear like this is right into the hands of Typical. Ideally, you want to see and snipe Abjack out on the other side because FaZe Clan now they're given a free transition and they can apply some pressure. They've been doing it for the past minute and a half, it feels like. Maybe a better 50-50. Something needs to go the way of FaZe Clan. You think, Jordan.
7 saves for Gen.G Turtle, with 10 for FaZe, and they might need 11. Mist gives it right to him. Typical says, apparently, Jack, get off my pitch. Typical gonna drop it down for Burst Killer, but Jack comes back. Across the corner. It's a deep rotation as Chronic gets deleted on the backside, but Nolly with a full tank. He's just roaming around, collecting pads, staying right in the line of play. Chronic quick up to the ball. He's first up to the ball. Now Nolly hands him back.
Wow,
Jack! Oh, what a save! Misses, that's cool, Jack. But I'm also an absolute star defender. Yeah. Now Burst Killer says, I got you. Oh, apparently Jack walked out of the way. Missed shot on target, denied by apparently Jack. Here comes another one. Denied, but it's a double commit. Gen.G awkward. Miss got Google stop.
Typical.
Taken away by apparently Jack. So many layers that you can't find the bottom of this Gen.G defense.
Each team somehow finding that crystal ball, able to read the future, knowing where these teams are trying to shoot, relying on a pre-jump to stay in OT. And it hasn't just been one side, one defense standing up and accepting the challenge. Here comes Chronic. 4:20 on the clock. OT ended.
Well, FaZe, they're going to be feeling some Chronic pain after that one. Big goal at 4:20. Chronic put Gen.G up in sweeping fashion. One more to go, Turtle.
We're already on match point.
One more.
How are we already on match point? When did this happen?
Bro, it was almost a 5-minute overtime, dude. We had like a 2-minute one. That was out there. That was Little League. This overtime, that's the bigs.
That game was so close individually. Sad score lines aside, you could tell there were opportunities, there were moments for FaZe Clan and Gen.G both to finish things off. But Gen.G, simply put, they have the ice. They are hungry. Third time is the charm. They made it to the grand finals again. And now they want to win a grand finals in one of these regional events. And they just might do it unless FaZe Clan can do the impossible, it feels like, and get this reverse sweep.
Here's an insane stat for you, Turtle. Shout out to Direct.
Let's hear it.
Gen.G are in this tournament, or actually, no, I think in all their games. I think it's just this tournament. They're 15-0 when they score first.
15-0
When they score
first. That's
no one else
absurd.
has that. No one else has that.
That's absurd.
That is
It just adds so much more importance now to whoever can strike first. FaZe Clan have been able to respond to that first goal quickly. And another one. We just talked about it. You cannot let these guys score first. They're 15-0, and 3 seconds in, Abjack takes charge.
apparently jacked up back into FaZe's net. That happened real quickly, didn't it, Turtle?
And look at the smiles on the face cams of Gen.G. There's been so much hype. If you were watching the semifinals and looking at the cams, Abjack, every time a goal would go in, he'd be screaming, he'd be popping off. You know the mentality is there. The vibes are there. Feeling confident in this matchup. Taking out Mist. First Killer was looking for a demo. Now there's a fake from Chronic near his goal. What are you doing, you madman? It worked, but man, it looked risky.
FaZe gonna need to take some more risks. This one looking like it's done and dusted already. How many times do you gotta put that ball on? How many times can you try it? Just doesn't matter. You dial up the saucy pass. Here's another one. Is that gonna go in? No. Hey, how about this one? What does Mist have? Oh wait, nothing. That's right over to Nolly. And now Gen.G are on the turnaround. First Killer. It's a great touch that actually forces all of Gen.G to wait for the ball. And FaZe will try again here. First Killer got the 50 underneath. Typical and Mist, both committed on the play. First Killer's gonna help out with that Mist on the backside. Jack gets there first.
What do FaZe Clan have up their sleeve to take down the hive mind that is Gen.G? It is so difficult to break through this team. You get a demo, you get a bump on that third man, but then there's another player from Gen.G who's also taking you out. Chronic, the double tap, the angle of a lifetime. He goes by himself. Normally you would pass this, Norby. You passed that. Why are you shooting it?
Because he's winning. Because every time Chronic touches the ball, it turns to goal.
I can't argue with
When you do no wrong, Turtle, you just go for the shot.
Yep.
Dude. Nolly early in the series, he was hitting clips. Apparently Jack was hitting chassis, and Chronic was finishing FaZe Clan off. Now 2-0. Jack, another redirect. They're just getting free redirects now.
Even with the transitions, like you'll see Gen.G go for a pass between their own defense, one big clear, and somebody, what feels like 90% of the time, is already up in the air downfield. They are so comfortable with each other. The trust between these teammates and all three of them has arrived, and so has FaZe Clan. Hello, welcome to game number 4.
Finally, they find a leak through this defense. Apparently, Jack just loses that touch, and Chronic was trying to get on the ball side, but Mist absolutely knew what he was up to. Got him off the wall, and got him out of the net.
This whole time, Joby, we've been sweet-talking Gen.G. FaZe Clan have been throwing attempts at the net of Gen.G. It's not like they're just sitting down, taking the beating here.
Oh!
Or maybe they are, or maybe they just are. Abjack so high up in the air, the spike down, make it 3-1.
Gen.G just let in the jab so they can bring in the right hook. Beautiful shot from Jack. Great setup from Nolly. And right when you think FaZe can start getting it figured out, they get bodied again. Oh, look, a fake kickoff now. That's pure confidence. Jack's wide open. Pass in front. Rips it hard. It's going to be Chronic. He coming with speed, but he didn't have enough boost. A little too speedy for him.
All right, we'll see, though. FaZe Clan, it's denied early. Still, there are opportunities. We can't express it enough. I mean, FaZe Clan, there's chances for them. There is thin, and they're far and few between, but they have had looks, opportunities at the net, like this one for First Killer, the demo, and they're fighting for that number 1 seed.
Such an important demo here. Chronic only got one pad as he rotated back, and Nolly getting demoed on the play absolutely left him stranded. He gets onto the back wall because he's thinking at least a challenge is going to come out. I'll be able to respond with 12, but your first man getting deleted leaves you stranded. Great play from FaZe.
Very well thought out. They have not let go of the confidence. Their mental has not slipped. Doesn't matter what the scoreline is. If you have to get a reverse sweep, it doesn't matter what it takes. We know FaZe Clan are capable, but they've got to unload and unleash every single weapon in their arsenal if they want to take down Gen.G.
This is the chance for them now. I think FaZe, you see them, it's much more concentrated now, the demo game.
Yeah.
They are just trying to delete the Gen.G code from the gate. Can they? Can they tie it up? More importantly, can they win? Jack says, that's cool, but I also got hacker skills, bro. Here comes another one, touched underneath. FaZe, though, missed. You see playing such a deep third on the opposite side of the field, hoping that play would come across. Instead, Gen.G get it back into the corner. Chronic coming in from midfield, gonna straight up challenge miss for the ball. Nolly going back for the corner boost. This should be FaZe ball.
How do you throw off Gen.G and their timing? I mean, whenever we listen to Abjack in his interview after obliterating G2, he was talking about how things were flowing so well for him and his teammates. He knew exactly where every single one of them were at any given moment, and the timing on when they go for demos, when they go for opportunities, it hasn't skipped a beat. FaZe Clan are trying to throw that off and break that rotation down. Demos haven't worked, but they have managed to be successful. 2 goals. They need 1 more to tie things up, and they're looking for it.
If Gen.G pull this off, it'll be the best record an NA team on Championship Sundays has ever had.
This might be
and
it.
They might get it, and they spread the lead out. 2 goals up. Nolly finishes the touch. Chronic sets them up on the double, triple, holy moly dish, and Nolly, he eats it.
And it just might be the final dagger thrown at the FaZe Clan defense. All of the armor stripped off, and they are left vulnerable, Jorby. This might be the end of FaZe Clan and the victory that Gen.G had been looking for every single regional, every grand finals. Third time just might be the charm.
Typical tries to get it set up, but first killer has to come back. He's got no boost. Mist was playing it deep behind him, barely gets to the ball. Gen.G, they've been waiting for this all split. They've tried twice, and they failed. But this time, the third time, it seems to be the charm for Gen.G.
Yep.
FaZe cannot get set up on offense. Jack, there he is again. 18 boost in the tank. Typical once more, but there's no more time on the clock. Gen.G ransack North America, your Fall Invitational champion.
Absolute destruction. Gen.G storming through North America. They make the move. People questioning, was it worth it? Was it the right decision? Is this roster one that is going to succeed in this region? They made the major, and now they have gotten themselves a grand final victory in the Fall Invitational. FaZe Clan, they tried their best. They really put their heart and their efforts there on the field. Everything they had in the tank was used up. But at the end of the day, it was not enough to overpower what is Gen.G.
All I'm going to say is that in the pre-show, Gibbs had his top 5 teams most likely to win Rotterdam.
Roast Gibbs.
He put Gen.G at 3rd. Hell, I
Third.
think it's time to change that up. Third, bro. 3rd.
Listen,
This team is this is not a third most likely in NA to win Rotterdam. They look like the most likely team to win out of this region right now.
and things could change, obviously, given it's a LAN environment. But if they can figure out how to translate this style, this confidence, you keep saying it and I keep saying it because I love the term, the hive mind playstyle, because it genuinely feels like every single one equally impactful and equally important on this field. It's not just Chronic taking charge. It's not just Nolly doing his thing. It's not just Abjack being the leader. It's all 3 of them equally playing a role on this roster. And if they can translate that in Rotterdam, we've got another thing coming, because that will be a sight to see.
I do still think you have to look out for FaZe. Besides that first game, those back 3 games were a lot closer. I still think they had a lot of the same issues that they struggled with on offense mainly. But man, Gen.G have made a statement today. I'm really curious what the rest of the desk thinks. And Gibbs, you need to apologize. Thank you.
Where are you ranking them now, Gibbs? Where are they number 1?
Hey, they're looking pretty good. That might be the best day we've ever seen from a North American team in one day, where they 4-0 G2 and then come out and 4-0 FaZe, 2 of the top teams in North America, and putting up nearly 4 goals per game. They looked unbelievable through today. So if they play like that, they're going to win every single game at the future, but we'll see. We'll see if they can do that again. That was amazing.
It seems like against North America, they're not going to have many problems here at all, given as long as they can keep up the performance. They lost 5 games, Achieves, across the entire Invitational.
Yeah, I was kind of talking about it while watching that last series in the middle of Game 4, and I was just like, watching Gen.G today has just been everything that comes up is like, cool, ace is up, we win again. Yeah. Like you could not go wrong if you were on Gen.G today. It didn't matter who you were playing against. I mean, when you drive circles around G2, things are going to look good. And they go out there against FaZe. Yeah, there's a lot more stability on that FaZe clan defense. They had to work through it and make sure they got around cleanly. But at the same time, man, they just hit flip resets over everybody all day.
It's just unbelievable. Because FaZe, they did battle back in a lot of those games and made them close at the least. But at the end of the day, it's a 4-0 sweep, and Gen.G just hitting everything. And Chronic, you know, he's coming out of nowhere, basically, playing on with like a few bubble teams. And then he's like, I'll join 2 Europeans, and now we're the #1 team in North America. So he must be feeling fantastic. Apparently, Jack and Nolly absolutely as well, because that move, well worth it for sure.
Incredible performances from every member of Gen.G in what is clearly the most dominant day of Rocket League a North American team has played in a while. They shake the grand final monkey off their back, and I want to hear it from the players themselves. Noli is here with us to talk about the win.
Hello. How are you doing, everyone?
Oh, Nolly, long time no see, my friend. And, you know, I think you can finally let those emotions pour out. And I just want you to take me through what it feels like right now to finally, 3rd time's the charm, win the Fall Invitational.
I'll be honest, like, nothing's coming to mind. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it was a big gamble, and it's paid off.
It was definitely a big gamble. And tell me what it was like when you told your family and friends, you know, I'm going to move across the Atlantic Ocean, and I'm going to go try and play a video game in North America.
Well, all my family is supportive. Like, they watch every single one of my games, you know, from like my cousins to my grandparents and parents. And I told them a week before I moved to NA, basically. I was like, look, I'm moving to play. They always knew I wanted to play in North America anyway. They just didn't realize how soon. And it's honestly paid off so much. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, I think they could just offer nothing but praise to you right now, and they're probably so proud of everything you've accomplished, not only in your entire career, but just the short 6 weeks that it's been that you've been in North America. I mean, it has been, talk about a skyrocket to the top. You guys take the #1 seed going into Rotterdam. What has been the critical kind of moment behind this team's success?
Just honestly, like, us being so open with each other as a team. Like, we do have the best environment in the whole of Rocket League. Like, nobody comes close. As soon as we lose a game, we talk about it. You know, I mean, we only lost 1 game in playoffs, and that was to V1, so we didn't have to do much talking. But yeah, just us being so, like, well knit together.
Well, you bring up, you know, being able to talk about that, and I'd like to talk. How do you guys? We know the hours Appjack puts in. We know the hours you put in. The hours Chronic puts in. How do you balance the work, fun, life, all of it all into one? And, you know, how do you deal with that with your mental health and things like that?
Honestly, like, it is tough, you know, moving away from, like, family and friends, where the only person I talk to every day is my team. Well, only people I talk to is my team. It's hard. I mean, luckily we're winning, so, like, it's not being as affected as much. But I will say it's difficult. I mean, we're going to Rotterdam, and then I'll be back home for Christmas. Same with Jack. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm just so happy right now.
Yeah, that's obvious. I mean, the moment we see how you guys won is just smiles across all your faces. And I've known you've been on the grind for so long, just trying to break into the top tier, and you've finally done it. And I want to know, who do you think is going to be your stiffest competition at this major? It's going to be...
I want to play them so bad, because I have a track record of in teams who kick me, you know. That's no diss to them. I love them all on that team. I'm still friends with them, but I want to beat them more than anyone.
No, it's that competitive edge. That's why you're here. That's why you're one of the best, is You always want to beat the people that kick you, and it's fun to see. And, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you perform. I remember seeing you in London in the hallways, backstage, just saying, I'm happy to see you. Like, you of all people, I think I'm happiest to see, because I've known how long this journey has been. And you talked about your family, you talked about your friends. They've been so supportive. So I'd like to just kind of offer up the floor to you right now. What do you have to say to all the people that have supported you along this way?
Just keep supporting. I wouldn't be where I am without the amount of support I get from everyone. It's surreal, and I want to do a free Evo. You know, you told me to say that, but I'll put that out there.
Nolly, it has been such a pleasure getting to watch you play. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Rotterdam, and thank you for the incredible weekend. It was so fun seeing some top tier Rocket League.
Thank you for having me.
Shogun just put out a tweet and he says, okay, so their floor is making grand finals. Literally the worst Gen.G can do is top 2 at this point, and we have seen that their peak is complete obliteration of the rest of the region. Mobile One Racing going to be happy with Gen.G there, taking home the W. And where does this put them now, Gibbs, in the standings?
Well, Gen.G, pretty simple. When you make 3 grand finals and you win one of them, you're probably going to be first unless some other team did something incredible. And yes, they are 40 points there. Number 1 seed. We'll play the OC number 2 seed when we go to Rotterdam in that first round of the Swiss. FaZe Clan, though, a still fantastic split for them. They get number 2, which seems like where they always land. They're just number 2 North America all the time. And then we got version 1 by 1 point over Space Station Gaming. And G2 was our last team to clinch Rotterdam. They will finish in 5th. So those are your 5 teams that are coming out of the North American region, and a little bit of an international flair this time around to go back to Rotterdam, or back to Europe for at least apparently Jack and Nolly.
They'll get to experience what it's like to do the travel that direction,
the other way, yeah.
And then have to figure out how to play and be on fire. It's not an easy one, but I'm sure they're used to it at this point here. And Achieves, we have now established our teams from North America who are going, and we know what order they're going in, what seed they're going for. The last thing that is there is for people to get tickets to show up, right?
Yes, do make sure you go to Rotterdam. It has been a while if we've been to Europe. So, you know, you've had your time off. The last time was, we had Sweden and then
London,
yes. I was like, hang on, there's one more. I couldn't think of it.
There's a lot of places.
Because I wasn't there the first time around, okay? I'm sorry.
Yes, no. Sweet. Rotterdam should be a wonderful time. Exclamation point tickets in chat if you want to see about the event. It's going to be the 10th and 11th of December. We'd love to see you guys there. As anyone who has been to one of these events can attest, it is a unique experience unlike anything else. If you enjoy watching here online, highly encourage you to go, especially if it's nearby to you. So, Gibbs, this is it. We have our North American teams, and they're. Do we have a chance?
Do we have a chance? We have 2 Europeans on the number 1 North American team.
Yeah.
Of course we have a chance. But it's been a fun split. A lot of crazy roster moves happened throughout this offseason. Wanted to see how it pans out. No one thought a team like Gen.G would be number 1. Everyone thought maybe they make major, and now they're number 1. So you just never know. But when it comes down to winter, like after Rotterdam, and we get back online and do some regionals, everyone's back at square one. So we'll see how that one pans out. There's a lot of teams hungry. That we said, like in the pre-show, you know, those 4 teams that just missed out really want to make some moves. So it's going to be very interesting roster mania once again. But first, the Rotterdam Major, and North America wants to take one on European soil. Hasn't happened basically ever. Like happened once with NRG, but they also had Turbo Pulses, so they had a European. So
that's true.
Who knows? Who knows?
No clean NA win.
Yeah, no clean NA yet. Yeah.
No. What are you talking about? He's North American now. He's
yeah.
We claim everyone. Yeah.
Folks, it's been a great event, and we have now seen Gen.G finally shake the curse right at the just in time too for the biggest tournament of the year so far. Rotterdam is coming up. Exclamation point tickets in chat if you think you can go. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch with us today. For me, the production crew, for all the casters, and all the players, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week for Europe.
And if you don't agree, then I'm giving this up. I wanna laugh so hard it hurts. To feel it touch so hard it burns. Isn't something you could learn, it's natural. And I might not feel that for you, but someday you'll find someone who sees you in a crowded room, sensational. Every time I dream of you, I see. It's the kind of thing that you can't unsee. I'm sorry. Every time I dream of you, I see. It's the kind of thing that you can't unsee. I'm sorry.